Hello and welcome back to the Game Bet Match podcast. I'm your host, Manny Friedman, along with my co-host
Brad Sloan.
and our special guest. You're back.
So he's
Welcome
not even a
back.
special
Yeah,
guest anymore, man. He's been on so many times. Like he's just a guest.
I
All right.
appreciate you guys inviting me back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anytime. Well, it's been actually a while since we potted. Last week's been busy. Also enjoying a lot of the other Olympic sports, sports we don't get to see that often. So, um, a lot of tennis obviously happened last week, but we're looking forward to preview Montreal and get into the U.S. Open swing. So, um, but anything new with you guys?
No, not too much.
Oh.
No, same, just keep losing. So hopefully you guys are going to change my luck.
uh, yeah, I always appreciate a self-deprecating humor when it comes to this stuff. I feel like you need
Well,
it,
when you lose 80 units, that'll do that to you. That's about where I'm at, about 80 now in I don't know, 4 months or something. So
We've
so
had
it
a
goes.
slight uptick with our GBM plays. We got up to minus 15, and then it's been a rough couple weeks. So
Yeah.
hope
Yeah.
to get it back. Personally, it's been better for me. I mean, I had the week of my life in that Gstaad, Newport week, but
Oh, nice.
that was incredible. But after that, it's been, a little rocky. But how about you, Brad?
I'm just pissed we didn't hit on our Thompson outright.
I know. That was brutal. That was
Like
brutal.
I hit a Cerundolo outright that week. I hit the Dolo outright in Umag,
Yeah.
which shout out to Dolo for getting that title. And I think definitely was interesting to see how well, especially Musetti getting a bronze at the Olympics. Like coming
Yes.
off of that Umag title didn't really seem to, or Umag final didn't really seem to impact him at all.
Mhm.
We'll see what it does to him for the hard court season, but he's not really a hard quarter anyways. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was
That Dolo,
disappointing.
I mean, that would have added what, 18 units, and the Thompson, and I feel like we were the only people on Thompson that
Yeah,
week.
it was just a depressing way to lose too, because I was also so pissed because like I was staring at the hedge. Like the hedge was up during the rain delay for Yoshi at like plus 350. And I was staring at it like, man, you really should take this, really should take this. Just because like with the rain delay, even though Thompson was a set up, like you don't know what those guys are gonna come out like at like an 11 p.m. rain delay. And of course I didn't because I was like, nah, why would I? Hedging is for gardens, don't want to pay Vig twice, all that stuff. And Thompson, was just atrocious after the rain delay. Going over 5 on breakpoint didn't help either. He seemed to struggle on breakpoints the entire tournament, though.
That Nigel Seeley quote seems to like stick in our heads, and it's like we just refuse to hedge now because like it's for
That
gardens.
is, yeah, it's a good one. It is obviously the right thing too. You shouldn't be hedging unless there's some economic utility to that money, like it's a ton of money to you, or you like the other side. So
Right,
it's
right.
possible.
Well, in this case, I think the reason would have been that like the plus 350 live on Yoshi during the rain delay, down a set may not have been a bad play, right? Like I look at it a little differently. I don't hedge for the sake of hedging. The only time I'll hedge is if I look at something live and I'll go like, oh wow, like you know what, like that other guy is probably a good play.
Yeah,
Right,
absolutely.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or you could also line. You could try to line shop something too. If you're in that situation and you can get
Yeah,
something better than the penny median, by all
that's true.
means, why
It's
not?
it's just a shame that rain delay is what cost us, really. Like I think if there wasn't that rain delay, I don't know if Yoshi would have found a way to get through that. I felt like he
Yeah,
made
I mean, I will say I
stuff.
think Thompson had chances to end it before that. It was
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna keep the recap short. But obviously we have to give a shout out to Novak for completing tennis, as they say, which I guess you can't really argue against that.
Is he
Um,
the first person to ever do it to get the full set of every tournament? I mean, he's got every mandatory tournament, right? Like the only tournaments he doesn't have are like 500s and 250s, which don't really count.
right.
But he's
Yeah.
got every
First,
Masters, Olympics, and all four
I mean, let's be
slams.
real. The greatest of all time debate was settled way before this, right? He didn't need this to cement that.
If you were going to argue it the right, I'll keep saying it. If you're going to argue it the right, the argument would not be Djokovic or or it would not be Djokovic versus Nadal versus Federer. You'd have to go back and argue like maybe Laver or somebody like that.
Yeah, okay. But
How
still, I
about
don't think these guys really have an argument either now.
beyond board
Oh, I
thing?
don't. I mean, I think Laver, like when you start getting into like those go far back, like when you go back to like if you want to go back and argue a Laver, I think there's an argument there because it's just a completely different era, right? Like not all the pros played the slams. The pros did a lot more barnstorming. It was a completely different like circuit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
anytime you're comparing errors, it's just you really can't. The equipment's
You
different,
can't.
the training's different, the everything is different. So it's just a different game. So if somebody dominates their error, that you can't, suddenly say a guy doing it 30 years later is automatically better. It's just everything's different. The schedule they play is probably different.
Mhm.
The incentives are different.
That's my point, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's my point, I guess.
You guys have stats on that Djokovic Alcaraz match? Like I saw it and marveled at the quality of the tennis, but it felt like Alcaraz won more points.
Alcaraz, I think, had more breakpoint opportunities. I think Alcaraz was 0 of 8 or something on breakpoint.
There were no
0 of
breaks
9,
in the
something like
entire
that.
match.
What?
There were no breaks in the entire match that I know.
Right. No. I'm saying on breakpoint, though, I think Alcaraz had something like 8 or 9 breakpoint opportunities to
Breakpoints.
Djokovic's 4.
Well, that first set, yeah, neither one of them. I think Alcaraz had more, but they went 0 for like 14 or something the first set.
Alcaraz has such a big explosiveness edge in this matchup, and like that was my take in handicapping the -3.5. I mean, I wasn't just weighing the Wimbledon match. I was also kind of just evaluating what I saw in this tournament, and it the edge there was clear. It's just the tactics that Novak used to counter that was incredible, and I mean, obviously Novak played way better than he did at Wimbledon. There's no doubt about that. But like as Brad said in the Discord, like the way he was cutting off the court and kind of countering that was just amazing, amazing to see. And
I agree. I will say, like, it's very easy to watch a match and have almost too many takeaways from one match. Like every dog has his day, right? Like I don't think necessarily like the Alcaraz -3.5 was a bad play. Like right, like every like Djokovic, the market was still saying Djokovic was going to win that 1 out of every 4 times, and that easily could have been the 1 out of 4 that Djokovic wins.
right,
Similar to how Medvedev beat Alcaraz at the U.S. Open last year. Like it doesn't mean
right,
that Medvedev's like figured him out or is a better player.
exactly.
It just means that like Medvedev played really freaking well on that day. Like there's so much variance and randomness in an individual tennis match. It's really easy, I think, to get like over, I don't know.
Well, I think
agree.
if they play that match on that court 10 times, I think Alcaraz wins seven of them. Right? Or
Right. Yeah,
7
which is
or
what the
8 of
market
them.
was essentially saying going in. 7.5, something like that. I think it was like plus, 2 something on Djokovic, plus 280, plus 290, if I remember right, it closed.
Something like plus 210, I believe.
Oh, is that short? Okay.
Like that. But yeah, I mean, I think the nerves actually affected Alcaraz more than it did Djokovic, ironically, even though it was a way bigger match for Novak. Alcaraz did state that like the nerves for this were higher than any Grand Slam final, and I kind of understand why, because you only have you have 16 less shots at this than you do in at an Olympics than you do a slam.
It's just amazing to me that
No.
he's how old is he? 21.
21. It's a joke.
He's unbelievable. I mean, you listen to him after the match. I mean, he's so well spoken and humble, and he's
So
a roommate.
emotionally mature too.
Especially for someone who doesn't know English that well. Like English is not his primary language.
I mean, but he's like not human. Like if you interviewed me at that age, my God, I would have been so arrogant and like
Yeah,
not
I
well
know.
spoken.
Yeah.
Like, he's got great people around him, obviously too. But that match, believe it or not, Djokovic 101 to 90 on points, and he had more. Alcaraz did have more break points, 8-6.
What was the total points?
101 to 90 it ended up. But
Oh, okay. So I think it was the second set. He was holding serve way easier. He served amazing in that second set.
What was the percentage of return points won for each player, Tony? That's always my favorite stat.
Let's see. So turn point. So Djokovic won 29% of first serves, 70% of second serves. That's the big difference. Alcaraz was 17 first serves and 33 second serves. It's not a
Wow.
it's not a big sample. I
Wow.
mean, he was 2 out of 6 on second serve points. That'll tell you something. Djokovic was 83% first serves in, which is crazy.
Djokovic
Yeah.
made 83% of first serves. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
You
He's
see,
really
still
high.
that's
and especially in the second set. I think the second set he served like 90%.
and
Yeah.
see that's the thing. Like part of this is
Oh,
Djokovic just played like out of his mind well.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm
And it was
looking
still
at second.
7-6, right?
I was looking at the second set. I apologize. So
Okay.
actually, it was uh, return points. One was 28 first serve for Djokovic, 52 second, and then Alcaraz was 22 and 50. But the first serve was a big difference, huge difference.
Well, one thing
Um,
I wanted to ask you, Brad, is do you think grass is Alcaraz's best surface?
No, I think clay probably still is.
Really? I actually don't
Yeah.
think so. I think his movement edge, like he's so good at moving on everything, but I feel like the gap in his movement versus everyone else's movement is highest on grass.
it's interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like he's yeah, okay, I hear that point.
Like I
I
think he's I
I
think
just
he's
don't think
better at,
quicker surfaces are better for him in general. He doesn't have that big of a serve.
I think it's sneaky big. I think he doesn't place it well enough and he doesn't um like serve high enough percentage, but I think it's sneaky big. And I think he
His
varies
serves,
like
it's
he
getting better.
varies it pretty well. He doesn't place it, but he's tactically pretty good with it, you know?
Yeah, but I mean,
Well,
it still helps to have like on grass, right? Like if you like getting aces is a bigger deal, right? Getting like free points on the serve is a bigger deal in Alcaraz. Whether it's because of placement or power, he doesn't generate as many of
I
those.
think there are other great movers on clay, so that the gap is not as big. I mean, it's still big, but it's not like as big. Whereas on grass, he's exceptional as well. So and the gap is bigger because the other guys just can't move as well on grass. You know?
I don't know. I mean, the only guy who's beaten him on either surface in the past, like who's beaten Alcaraz on clay in the past 2 years besides Djokovic?
Um,
Bobby and Marozin.
yeah.
Yari did it, and Thiago Montero did it with an injury.
Yeah.
So a few guys have done it, but Nori did it last year. He beat him on clay. So like, I guess a few guys have done it, but I don't know.
I mean, it's
It's
very
hard to say because like the
close.
problem, I don't know. I have a hard time like Alcaraz's Wimbledon run wasn't even that impressive though. Really, he won a lot of matches because he just like outgutted guys mentally, and because he was mentally tougher. But I didn't think it was like that impressive of a run. Um,
I actually think if this final was best of five, Alcaraz was live to come back. Honestly,
oh, I
Oh,
completely
I
agree with
agree.
that. Yeah,
you know,
Definitely.
like
completely agree with that.
I don't think just playing two sets, even though it lasted 3 hours, like I actually think it would have been tough for Djokovic to maintain that level and maintain
Yeah, I
that.
think Novak. I think Novak. You could kind of tell that Novak knew he had to win that second set tiebreak too. He got really aggressive.
I think so too. I think he was in big trouble if he lost that. I just don't think he's got that stamina either. That was very physical,
Very
grueling
physical.
match,
I mean, it was
grueling
two
two
hours. It was
sets.
what, 3 hours?
Yeah, it was almost
Yeah,
3 hours, if not
Incredible.
more, for two sets. Yeah.
Djokovic's so slow though with, bouncing the ball 3,000 times. Somebody said something in the bleachers, he stops again, bounces another
Oh, well,
100
I think that's more
times.
veteran tricks, right? That's more when he's
Oh,
tired and he's
absolutely.
nervous.
Yeah.
He like
Absolutely.
I mean, he's the master of him and Holger Rune are the master of the veteran
Yeah.
tricks with that. Like,
But he's
Just
also the
point.
master at the second win, right? Like Djokovic is king at when he has a lull physically at finding some reserves and getting it back. He's better than anyone I've ever seen at that.
Yeah.
good point. I didn't think about that. But that's a good point.
So like I think if it went third to three, I think Alcaraz may have gotten an early break, but there would have been a response, and Alcaraz might have gotten tight. Like it could have been easily 7-6 in the third as well.
So
So
I guess moving forward, like for Novak, like this ironically, like this doesn't really change my opinion of much going forward for the rest of the season. Like I don't this was the event for him to win. Here's a question for you guys. So if Novak was told he would win 0 events this year, but he would win the Olympics, he would take that, right?
100%,
Like that would still be a good year.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he would have taken that.
And
Yep.
ironically, for Alcaraz, if you had told him that he was going to beat Novak and defend his Wimbledon title, but lose the Olympic gold medal,
He wouldn't take that.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. He said he would rather have an Olympics than Wimbledon because he already won it last year.
I mean, I've never seen
publicly.
Djokovic that emotional after a match. So that
Well, I think it was because it was completing the. Well, first of all, I think for Djokovic, the whole country thing is big, right? Like
Yes.
I remember him being overjoyed also when he won Davis Cup, and
Yeah,
he
more than
talks about
anything.
that. So I think I think the Olympics is a very player. Like I think it means different to different players, right? I don't think that's like a. I don't know. I think that's a.
I think
pretty
it
blase
means more to the
statement.
top guys who have chances of medaling, right? Like to a Sebastian Korda, I think winning Washington means more, right? Because like also he gets a paycheck. It's an ATP title.
yeah,
Well,
it's hard to
maybe
say.
maybe not Korda necessarily, but like I guess like a Tiafo, for example, right?
I would say the likelihood goes way up with those types of guys in the Olympics. You know, some guys it really may matter a lot, and some it may not matter at all. But yeah,
I think it's more like player individual dependent. Also, it was the
Yeah.
one thing that like people had used against Novak, right? Like it's ironic how like people go, oh, Federer's an Olympic gold medal champion,
Oh, it's a
even though
joke.
he's got one in doubles and not singles. So it's a
Doubles
very
my
like
ass.
weird what?
Doubles my ass. I mean,
It's a very weird thing how it's reported, talked about, like and again, how it's different for different players. Like, yeah, I just think it's a yeah.
I think also the fact that he was probably a bigger underdog that match than I don't know, he has been ever in a long, long time. And he had just lost to Alcaraz. And I mean, it was the whole overcoming everything that he had to win that match. I think that made it extra special too. I mean, how many times is he a 3-1 underdog in a match? When's the last? I mean, he knows that too. He knows he's the underdog. He knows Alcaraz is beating him. Like it's just such a mountain he had to climb to do that.
Yeah, he may not know the spread, but he knows he's a big underdog.
Yeah, I would say so.
Is Alcaraz the best player Novak has ever played?
I wouldn't go that far yet. I don't think he has the maturity and intelligence to be that
I don't
yet.
think he might not be the best. Like I think Nadal was better on clay in certain
I would
aspects.
say he's nowhere near Rafa on clay in his prime. Nowhere near.
No,
nowhere near. I mean, Rafa won a French Open where he won 18 games in every single match.
It's
like that is beyond absurd. To win a French Open and win 18 games, where you would have cashed the under 18 and a half in every single match.
Yeah, the under 18
including
and
the
a half
final, like
rollover.
that's beyond absurd.
It's absurd. It's absurd.
Manny, you could have retired with some type of prop bet there.
I probably could have. I probably could have. But I think maybe the best player is not the way to say it. It's the most complete player, right? Who on like any surface on any given day probably has the most tools to counter what Novak does.
He's the most gifted. I mean, I was thinking, imagine, that skills challenge they put the next gen players to.
Yeah, yep.
Imagine if they put Alcaraz and Djokovic, had them do that before that match. Like Alcaraz would destroy him at everything. I mean, I mean, maybe flexibility like Novak. I don't think they do an event for
Alcaraz
that.
is underratedly flexible though. It's
but that'll give you an idea of how much he could improve because he's completely missing that. I shouldn't say completely, but he has a lot to do to get where Djokovic is mentally,
in terms of resume
and tactically. And so Federer and Nadal obviously are better mentally and tactically too. So he's gonna get there.
I actually think Alcaraz is stronger than Federer is mentally. I don't
mentally that could be
mentally
I don't know.
100%. I think Federer actually lost a lot of tight matches because he didn't have the guts and the courage in key moments, and I think Alcaraz has that.
But you got to remember he's had to he got so amped up before a match that he literally couldn't play the second set. So he's still got a long way to go. That's emotions,
Yeah.
right? That's
Right.
still an emotional issue.
I mean, I think he was more
And he's
nervous.
got a long way to go tactically too. Like I think he's got, yeah.
I don't necessarily think Federer was great tactically either. Right? I don't think he ever really developed that part of his game that much. Right? I think Federer was very stubborn in what he was doing. He kind of believed what he was doing was better than anyone else, so he just stuck with that. And it's won him 20 slams. Like, I'm not criticizing him for it, but against the best of the best in key moments, it wasn't good enough. You know?
Yeah, this is outside of my area of expertise.
I
I'd be
think it's really
shocked if
hard to say. It's an interesting debate, man. I think it's really hard to say.
I'd be shocked if that were true, but it's possible. I mean, is he that talented that he wasn't good tactically? Like that good at everything
I
else?
think so, especially against the likes of the Hewitts and the Roddicks of the world. It didn't matter how good tactically he was because he was just so much better tennis wise,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, he always had an issue on break points.
Mm-hmm.
In key, or at least I mean, I'd love to see the stat on it, but it always seemed like you had an issue on break points in big matches.
Yeah,
And it was because he was too tentative on break points.
I feel like I've heard the opposite. Like I feel like I listened to a podcast a couple years ago, and somebody had looked to wanted to determine if there were players that were more clutch than others, or that were more unclutch, if that's a word. And I think Federer was actually the only person he ever found that was like had something that was statistically significant in favor of him being clutch, where he had won like so many more key points than he should have.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
maybe he wasn't doing it in the big matches though, like in the key
yeah,
spots.
he would
I
do it
don't know.
against everyone except the Federer, the Nadals and the Djokovic's of the world. But those are the matches that stick out. Like
It's also
Yeah.
interesting. So I was thinking about this too. Like, I don't know, Manny, watching Federer, especially the second half of his career, it felt like he was really trying to, like, he kind of had the Sampras mentality of just try to break once and win 6-3 or 6-4.
Mhm.
And so I wonder, like, if that's kind of what developed him, would develop the theory that he would have been kind of clutch. Because, like, when he had to, he could get breaks. But then, like, when he didn't have to, it was almost like he felt like he gave away a lot more holds than any of the other guys who we're talking about right now.
But I think that's also due to the fact that he just wasn't as good of a returner as the other two guys.
It's hard to say, right? Like, yeah.
Like, he wouldn't hit the return aggressively. He would hit a lot of chip returns. And like, I don't think he had the tools necessary to do with those, with like.
Well, I also think it's important to separate like early career Federer with that from like late career, because I feel like early career Federer, like pre 2010 Federer, right, was different than like post 2010 Federer with that also.
Well, Federer won 15 of his 20 slams from 04 to 09, right? So
right, but if you remember Federer in that time period, like he did have the movement and he did have like a lot of that stuff that like later in his career he didn't have,
yeah, he
Like
did.
he kind of changed. Like you have to give Federer credit for this. Like he did change throughout his career.
Yeah,
Like he changed play styles pretty drastically throughout his career.
yeah, he was more defensive back then. Actually, he started as a serve and volleyer. Then he became like a more defensive kind of just all around player, and then he turned into like an attacking mode Federer. So he's changed his game. I agree with that. I just think he gets way too much credit than he deserves. Like, I think 2010 to 2020 should really be a big two. With
He had a
Federer
lot of easy draws.
relevant.
I saw somebody broke down Jeff. Is it Sackman, the guy who does tennis
Yeah,
abstract?
tennis abstract guy. Yeah.
He broke down the draws for Djokovic, Federer, Nadal, and Federer had like some crazy easy draws to win titles. He had by far the easiest of the three.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, this is not a Federer podcast, so
Yeah. Any other? I guess.
got to shout out to Musetti for coming back from the UMAG final and winning bronze.
Yeah.
Impressive. Like, I understand the Novak dud, but I actually think Novak played pretty well in that match.
Extremely well. Beat him
yeah.
by 3 breaks. I mean, that's
It was-
Musetti
But I
playing
thought I didn't think Musetti played great either. I thought Musetti kind of took a.
a little bit. He's got a mental block, I think, against Djokovic.
It's starting to seem that way. Like he plays him tough, and I think he's a decent matchup for him. But
I don't think just Djokovic, Alcaraz too. Like, remember, didn't they play a big like slam match recently in the past year or two where it was like pretty hyped up? It might have been at the French in 23. Like Alcaraz Musetti was supposed to be this big like slam match, then Alcaraz beat like 3-3-3 or something.
I think it was I think there was a hardcore U.S. Open. I think Musetti had been playing like unbelievable. Like he had won in straight sets every match up to that. And then I could be wrong on this, but
there was a big match at a slam where it was like a big.
And Alcaraz just absolutely
I think
destroyed him.
Fourth round of last year's French.
Yeah, and he got beat 3-2-2.
Okay, I'm thinking of something different. But yeah, I do remember him getting destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Musetti's one of those guys where I just there's going to be that mental hurdle of beating a big guy in a big spot, right? Like I think he's always going to struggle with that, to be honest.
But it's amazing. I mean, so it's amazing though, like how 90% of the tour is like that though. Like Tsitsipas can't close out a set against Djokovic from 4-love and then 5-3 40-love up. Like
terrible. Oh.
It's just amazing. Like
Cerundolo at the French against
Cerundolo. Like it just like it feels like everybody at the French and Wimbledon had Djokovic on the ropes and nobody could knock him down. Like, and some of it's that Djokovic is really good tactically under pressure. He makes guys beat him, and a lot of guys can't. But it's amazing just how much these guys, and like I guess credit to Alcaraz for that, right? Like credit to the 5 or 10 guys on the tour who don't fold.
Yeah,
when they're under pressure.
I mean, that is a huge mental hurdle.
How is it 5 to 10 guys? It's 2 guys. It's Alcaraz and.
Oh no, I mean no. There's other guys who just don't have the tools, but don't fold. Like Rune doesn't fold. Rune can play some terrible matches, but and he's not good enough, and he's got a lot of issues. But he doesn't fold against those top guys.
Not at all.
The Wimbledon 4th round is not.
That was just a dud. That wasn't like a fold. It was like a dud. Like Rune loses 1-1 to Marathon. Like Rune just plays duds every 10 matches. Like it just is what it is.
Every 3 matches.
Yeah, you're right. It's not every 10. It's every 3.
He's not afraid to lose. Yeah,
I'm not saying Rune's at their level. I'm just saying, in that aspect, I think Rune's pretty tough. I
agree.
Shelton's an idiot. He's terrible tactically, but he's not afraid. Like he'll go for it. He'll just miss. Bublik's not afraid. Bublik might clown away or do something else, but
all right, they're just not good enough, right, to even get to that point where they're going to be in that position.
Well, I mean, they are every so often, right? Didn't Shelton beat Sinner last year
in Shanghai?
Yeah,
I think it's way more likely to happen. Yeah. Like I'm talking about slams, like it.
Yeah.
Masters won.
I don't know that Shelton. I don't know that Shelton is good enough to beat those. I don't know that Shelton is consistent enough to win 3 sets against one of those guys.
Yeah,
Rune's come close. Rune almost beat Zverev at the French that Rune played Zverev to 5 sets.
Right, but I think also Zverev has that mental block against those guys. Maybe not Sinner, but against the Alcaraz or Djokovic in a big spot, right? So
I would say in a slam. But actually Zverev's beaten Alcaraz a couple times in slams, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true. That's true.
I think I think for Zverev it's just like where I would be scared to back Zverev is a slam semi or a slam final. I've said it a million times now. I feel like when he gets to the end of a slam, he knows this is possibly the moment, and that's when he gets scared.
Right.
Well, you just see him in key moments with his first serve. All of a sudden, he's serving 80% first serves in, and then he gets to this crucial spot in a big match, and he serves a second serve for his first serve. He completely chokes. I mean, why? There's no other explanation. He hasn't done it all match for 2.
And he's so fit physically. It's not physical fitness with Zverev. This is incredible. So Zverev's serve, right? People don't talk about this. He has the fastest first serve in tennis, average speed, and he makes the highest percentage.
Oh, he's unbelievable with it. He's unstoppable when he gets that going. Yeah.
Yeah, he's almost unstoppable, except the forehand can be a little wonky at times, and the brain can be wonky in big matches. But other than that, he's
improved so much in that. He's improved so much at net, right? Like he's gotten a
Yeah.
lot better. His backhand is the best in the game.
Like I
Should
think
have
the
beat
loss of the Olympics
Alcaraz.
was to Musetti was just he's overplayed. Like he's just played way too. Like he's played a crap ton of tennis the past month. I think it was just like
Well, Musetti has too, but I guess I don't know. I thought Musetti played a hell of a match against Zverev, to be
I
honest.
thought so too. I completely agree.
I think that there's a level there where like Alcaraz, Sinner, and Djokovic there, well, especially Alcaraz and Djokovic in these big spots are a level above even Zverev. You know?
Well, I
And
think there's an aura around him that's not around Zverev. I'll agree with that.
okay. Right. So maybe not necessarily the level of tennis, but just the aura.
And I think they're both also like the thing with Alcaraz too is he's better tactically. Like it's weird. Like with Alcaraz, I was gonna ask you guys this. Do you guys sometimes feel like Alcaraz like isn't trying to win every set or every game? Like it almost seems like when Alcaraz is playing, like there's something more like that he's trying to do besides just win every point.
Well,
Like he's trying to almost like work on stuff. Like it's about improvement, development. Like it seems like there's like a lot of times when like watching Alcaraz, like there's something more than just like winning that next point on every point. Because he makes a lot of dumb errors in spots that don't mean as much. And then all of a sudden when it means more, he seems to tighten up. In a
yeah,
good way. Like he doesn't make as
Yeah.
many errors.
I think he's trying to entertain the crowd too much. He's trying to put on a show, and especially early in matches, I think you see
No,
that.
but I hear what Brad is saying because like when push comes to shove, like on big points, I feel like when he's facing a break point, he'll knuckle down and just play some really good tennis, and then he'll pull out like a crazy drop shot or something, but he'll hit those kind of when they're there. Whereas like on a 15 love point, he'll pull out that drop shot like when it's not there, just for the hell of it.
Yeah, but I think that's what Tony's saying. Like, and I kind of agree with Tony. I think he does try to entertain the crowd. And he goes for like these ridiculous shots. Like he'll go. I mean, he'll go for some ridiculous shots, like off the baseline. He'll try to like, there'll be a ball like rocketed at him, and he'll try to like rip it back like inside out down the line for a winner, and he'll miss it by like 30 feet because it's a ridiculous shot to even attempt.
But he plays some circus shots on big points too, and he executes them. Like remember that drop shot that Novak hit, and he like did this like fake dink cross court to like, like kind
I
of like
thought that was honestly, I didn't think that was so much a circus shot. Like I thought that was more of like that was a realistic shot I think to play in that scenario.
He's publicly said that he wants to be very aggressive on big points. He wants to go after it, and he's even said that at some point he said that he needed to tone it down. Whether he had determined that or his coach, I would assume it's his coaches. But
I actually think
he's talked about that.
I actually think he played a decent match against Novak. I don't think like it's not really a knock on Alcaraz.
I thought he played like B plus. Like I thought he played okay.
Yeah,
I didn't think he played
not
like
his
I don't
best.
think he played great. I thought he played okay.
I think it was a nervous
It's
match for him. Like he
the
just
only thing that disappointed me was the last three points of the tiebreaker. I feel like he got mentally defeated at the end there. He just his body language, his expressions, and the way he played the last 4 points were. I think he kind of gave up. I think he was beaten, which shouldn't happen. You should never be beaten.
Especially because it's not like he was in that much trouble.
No, you're in the match. Like you're in a
Like he was
tiebreaker.
down one mini break. Like at 5-2, I think he was
Right.
down one mini break.
Well,
Like,
those two crazy forehand winners on the run by Novak, I think that's what defeated him. Like he played good points on those points, and just Djokovic played him better, and like that's what kind of caused that.
but he's so close to winning that match. Like if he wins, like I don't know, if I'm Alcaraz, I've got to think if I win the second, that's my match. Like all I've got to do is get this tiebreak from 2-4 down. Like if anything, it's time to knuckle down. Like it's time to like.
Yeah, that was what disappointed me. I just his body language too. It wasn't his typical body language at those last 4 points. Like he looked like he knew he was on his way to losing, and let's just get this over with.
Yeah,
as opposed to fist pumping, let's go, like I'm in this.
Yeah. Well, talk about a guy that's like way below those guys is Felix, who could only win 2 games against Alcaraz.
That was a no
Yeah,
show.
I don't know. I mean, are we fully bought into the resurgence of Felix?
No.
If Tony is watching, then no. If Tony is not watching, then perhaps.
I mean, he did beat Martyr 11-1.
He did play good against Musetti. I did watch some. I was shocked that he suddenly, outside of the first couple games of that first set, I didn't see parts of the second and third set, but the parts I did see, like the end of the first set and second set, he was playing good.
He's playing really well. I was worried because I had 4 units on the Musetti money line. And like,
Wow.
yeah,
I bet that too.
Felix is really outplaying Musetti for that,
Yeah.
second to the third. So
Yeah, he had Musetti shaking his head.
Level. So
Are we like over when it comes to Felix, are we over I don't know what the word is, like, so because like, are we over expecting things from Felix? Like, because he was top 10 a couple years ago before he got hurt? Like, are we judging him based on that level, whereas the level we should be judging him on is more of like a top 30 level? Because he's made pretty good recovery from where he was like 6 to 8 months ago. I think he's much better place than he was then. And I feel like because we're expecting him to be like, man, didn't you and I both say he was going to be like top 3 on our first podcast ever? It's like one of the worst calls we've ever made. Like we did like our
I thought he would end the year
like
number 2
preseason
in the
projection.
world.
What?
I thought he would end the year number 2 in the world that year.
Yeah, I think I had him like I either had him like 2 or 3. Like I had him pretty close to where you did.
Yeah.
Definitely top 5. And like I feel like we still judge him on like that.
Yeah,
that
because
expectation almost.
He had such a great youth, right? Like it's similar to Zverev in a way, right? Like when he came onto the scene in 2017 and everyone thought he's this next golden child. And like we saw that with FAA, and he had that great end to the year, and he hired Uncle Tony, and he had took Nadal to 5 sets, and like we thought that he was on this upward trajectory similar to what Alcaraz has been, and it just hasn't panned out.
He's in his head too much. Like he's way too caught up. I mean, you can see it. He's also stiff. Like he's
stiff.
Well, what's ironic about that is I don't think he's fully recovered from, and maybe he's physically fine, but I don't think he's fully physically and mentally recovered from the injuries he had in 23. Because he used to be really athletic back before he got hurt.
I know
that could be part of it.
Well, that was,
and I think it's like the running back. It's like the running back who tears his ACL. Like they might do the surgery and I can't remember what he hurt. I think he had some sort of knee injury. I don't think it was a torn ACL, but like it's like the running back who tears his ACL, where like they might recover physically, but a lot of them never recover mentally.
Yeah,
you see that in the NBA with guys. Or they'll end up getting another injury on like their other leg or something.
I don't think he's ever
because they put too much weight on it.
I don't think he's ever been a great defender, right? Like he's athletic, but he's not, like, he doesn't have very good defensive instincts on the court, like similar to like what Alcaraz does, or even a Sinner at this point. And I actually think clay is his best surface.
Ooh, I disagree. I'll go indoor hard.
He's gotten a lot better on clay, but
I think he needs more time on the ball. I think like he needs more like time to set up and figure out what he's going to do with the ball. Like that's when he hits his best ball. When he's rushed, he's a complete mess. And like I understand, like a lot of guys are not great when they're rushed, but I feel like he doesn't have very good improv ability. He's better like when he's set.
I agree. I'll still say he's better on indoor hard.
Okay. And like I actually think his serve has regressed. And I think that's another big part of like his decline since that run.
Yeah, he certainly, I mean, he used to have one of the best serves on tour. I mean, I think he used to be up there in terms of ace leaders. I don't know where he is now. I mean, you could look this up, but it can't be top 10. I feel like I was looking at the ace leaders recently and FA was nowhere to be found.
And I remember I bet him to lead the tour in aces in 23.
Yeah, his hold percentage, well, the last 2 years it was 86%. This past year it's down. This is only hard courts, by the way. I'm only going to give hard court stats, but it was down to 83 over the past year. First serve win percentage down, second serve win percentage down. His ace percentage actually, it is down as well. went from 13% to 11%.
Yeah, I mean, he's out of the top 10 now in ace percentage. You know, he's down in like
Wow.
the 15-ish range, which is, you know, for a guy again who Manny bet on to lead the tour in aces one year is you know, lower than what we would have thought back then, right? It still isn't bad, but it's lower than we would have
Right.
thought back then.
Yeah.
You didn't know Giovanni and Pesci card was coming?
I did not. I did not. I knew who
Yeah,
he
that
was.
guy's insane. I mean, he's got a legitimate chance to lead the tour in aces next year.
He's a monster.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's the new tennis player, right? Like big, athletic,
Yeah.
amazing serve. Like he misses a lot of shots. Like he's not the most like
He's
put together
improved
player.
in that
but-
aspect.
What?
He's improved in that aspect.
Got a long way to go. But yeah, he's improved.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of him. I've probably watched in total like a complete match of him, like if you combine the different parts. But yeah, he's impressive. He's a problem. I don't think anybody really is going to want to play that guy.
Any mentions in Washington? I guess we got a shout out to Korda for finally winning an ATP final.
Well, wait. He had that's it's his second. He had won one on clay, hadn't he? He beat
Yeah,
Cincinnati
one
in
other-
the final.
Okay.
Yeah, he
so
had one other
two
title,
and two
like a
and-
250
Yeah.
in
But I think it's a
2021.
little unfair. Like people call Korda kind of a finals choke artist because of his struggles, Futures Tour winning titles. But if you look at it, so his finals losses are Demonor, Manarino, Djokovic, FA when he was top 10 in 22, during FA's like during peak FAA, Rublev and Alcaraz. Actually, Alcaraz that's not Alcaraz.
How about Manarino?
I guess Hubie.
There was Manarino,
Like
right?
I said Manarino.
Okay.
But like
all right.
Manarino is the only one of those that you could have argued like he should win. And I don't even know. Manarino was playing really well. I mean, that was when Manarino cracked the top 20. That was probably more of a coin flip.
I don't know. I think he does get tight in pressure situations from what even yesterday against Cavalli. Was it yesterday? That first set, Cavalli, Korda pretty much dominated that set. You know, Korda had a couple loose points on a service game, I think at 4-4, 4-5, whatever it was. And he basically just, I mean, the first break point Cavalli got, he converted. And in my opinion, Korda choked that. Like I don't know if choke's the right word, but he tightened up. Like he tightened up as soon as it was low 30 that game. You could see it. Like his whole expression and everything changed. I don't know. He's got to get tougher, in my opinion. But those losses you were quoting are not bad. I remember that Djokovic match. That was
And the Djokovic actually played fantastic. That was a
incredible.
fantastic tennis match.
Yeah,
like,
that was a good
Yeah.
tennis. I remember that one. Yeah.
It's the best I've seen him play. When
But
he's on, he's unbelievable. I mean, he's so effortless. It's incredible to watch.
But I feel with Korda, that's why he's so hard to bet. Is just like he's either really, really good or really, really bad. And there's really no in between with him. And I don't know, and there's no like pattern to see when he's going to be good or when he's going to be bad.
Yeah.
He can be good or bad in
agree.
the same tournament.
I
And
agree.
it's like,
well, I mean, look, he should have lost to Kokkinakis. Like, I mean, have you
Right.
guys seen the match point he saved against Kokkinakis?
I was watching. Yeah.
Where he
Oh
hit
my
like
God.
that bunt, like he was down to a bunt to stay in the tournament. Like, that's
was
all
the
you have
most-
to know.
Ridiculously lucky shot I've ever seen. And then the next point, Kokkinakis has like two shots to beat it, like easy, like 90% plus shots to put him away and blows it.
we'll talk about the choke artist. That's Kokkinakis in a nutshell, right? Like,
Oh man,
I
there's
mean,
no
just think
way
about
Korda
that
should have won.
6 hour match with Murray. Remember that? I mean, that was a epitome of a
Oh,
choke.
that was one of those brutal choke jobs ever. I mean, I as somebody who bet Kokkinakis in that match, that was a brutal, like a brutal loss because he just had
That was.
so. And it's just like it's the shots that Kokkinakis blows when he's got a shot
Yeah,
Yeah,
to like do something real.
yeah.
I mean, he had 3 shots basically that were. I mean, if you froze that moment in time and they put a betting line on it, Kokkinakis would have been like a 5,000 to 1 favorite.
I mean, Felix had 2 sets up against Kokkinakis at Wimbledon and found a way to lose. So going back to Felix, I mean, it's
incredible.
Yeah.
yeah. Kaboli. I mean, I'm a big Kaboli fan. I like the guy. I mean, I understand the run wasn't like that impressive. Like he kind of got outplayed in 3 matches, but found a way to get through. And I think that's part of what I like about Kaboli is that he has some guts in key moments. You know,
I agree. I
and
like him too.
he doesn't like fold. I mean, to a way lower scale than we were talking about against the Alcarazes and Djokovic's of the world, but like, in a third set, a tight third set, like he's gonna go for it, and I would back him against a lot of guys in that spot. You know, he can throw in those duds too. I'm not like saying like Kaboli is a finished product that is great, but like those 3 wins were impressive. I thought.
Yeah, he's aggressive. I mean, if he's hitting his shots, he's extremely difficult to beat.
Yep.
Yeah, even Korda the first set. I mean, even though he kind of got outplayed I mean, he did get outplayed the first 8 games. He stepped it up and played really well for the last couple games to win it. Yeah, he's tough guy to handle, but he is he's a little hit or miss. I think
He is a little erratic.
He's aggressive. So
yeah.
if he's missing his lines and missing those shots, he's not going to be nearly as good.
Right, like he did against Xi Jinping in Hamburg, right? Like the first set was ugly, but like he found a way to make the second set close. He'll battle. He's a good competitor as well. Like he has that side of it too. But this was the one title I didn't back Kaboli to win, Brad, and he got to the final.
Yeah, yeah.
I saw the end of the match with him and Fokina, and Tennis Channel kept it on. At the end of the match, they shook hands. He went back. Yeah, he went back and couldn't leave the court, so the trainer had to come out. Every time the trainer would move his leg, he would scream out in pain. So I'm watching that and saying, all right, like whoever this guy's playing next, no chance he beats him. And of course, he beats Mickelson 3 sets, third set tiebreaker. Yep. Plays Shelton. All right, he's got to be exhausted against Shelton. He beat Shelton.
Well, Shelton, I mean, Shelton's just another. I mean, Shelton is just another. That guy's another mental conundrum. But yeah.
Yeah, and then the one match though. Just to end my story. So finally I give up on it. I'm like, all right, this guy doesn't get tired. I'm not going to do it in the finals. Sure enough, third set, he's just gassed and has nothing left. It's like, good God, how do you gauge these things?
Yeah, I think
it's almost. I mean, but the reality is that's betting, right? Like,
yeah,
you're gauging that a guy like usually you're gauging that there's a 10% chance the guy's fatigued, and like that's your edge over the market. If the market's saying it's if the market's saying it's 5%, like that, like a lot of times, like your edge isn't like a prediction, right? Your edge is like it's more likely than the market believes. Like which is like it's the same thing as backing underdogs, right? Like so often I'll laugh to myself because like I'll back an underdog and he'll lose a close match, and I'll be like, well, that actually was my prediction. Like I thought my bet was going to lose close, but hey, I thought it was worth a 3-1 shot. Like.
It's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. Back to what you're talking about with Shelton. He's got a long way to go mentally. He's in his shot selection.
But he's just so far behind. Like it's again, I'll keep saying it. Like he just started playing tennis so late. Like, and I feel like this is probably the part that's like really, really hard to like tactically within a point. That's got to be the hardest thing to improve, or one of the harder things to improve on. Because it's all like reaction, right? So how do you how do you go to the practice court and like improve like in-point tactics? It's got to be tough.
Yeah, you need a coach and probably study tape, and somebody to say what you should have hit this shot here. And
he's becoming one of the more pure over guys out there. Like 9 of his last 10 matches have gone over the projected total, and that one match was the Sinner match at Wimbledon. Because the guy will compete, and he has a good serve. And like, I think he's mentally strong in terms of the battling part. He just doesn't know how to play points, or rallies, right? So.
Yeah, it was actually today I redid all my margin of victory by set. He is on on tour, he is actually the second worst. He does one game worse in the first set than he does the second set. So he's a game
Okay.
better in the second set. But how many players is this? I've got 141 players. He's literally 140th in terms of.
Wow.
So
I mean, he's breaking 12% of the time this year, which is atrocious.
yeah, he's too good athletically to. I mean,
Oh,
that's horrific for him.
Crazy. Yeah, last 52 weeks, he's 25%, but 2024 he's breaking 22.3%. And then I think the last, like on clay, it was lower or something, or well, let me see.
I mean, you'd think his dad will get him there.
I mean, he's one of the worst. He's one of the worst guys in return points won. I looked and he's like 48th out of the top 50 or 47. He's somewhere in the bottom 5 of the top 50 in terms of return points won. Like, he just doesn't have a game that's conducive to winning return points.
Yeah,
he should. I mean, there's no reason he shouldn't.
Yeah, his break percentage on
no, because you got to be able to make more than 4 balls in a row in the court to win return. I mean, that's the problem, right? Is he just like he can't make enough balls in a row in the court, like.
Yeah,
again, right? Like number of hours played. Like if you've played less hours, I think it's harder to be as consistent, right? Like you're going to be.
But that being said, I actually think like I would more likely back him at the US Open than these Masters 1000s because I think best of 5 is good for Shelton. Because I think he's extremely physically fit. Mentally, he's gonna he might not be good tactically, but I think mentally and tactically is different. Right? Like his tactics are atrocious, but I think mentally he's actually pretty strong.
I agree. Yeah, I
think he's okay.
I don't think he's a choker or anything like that.
No,
I would say I feel like he's like, and I guess this puts him above 90% of the tour, but he's like neither choker nor super clutch. Like I feel like everybody loves to call him clutch, but it's like it's because he's willing to go for stuff, but like he goes for it and misses plenty in big situations. He's just not afraid to go for it.
Right. Remember the back-to-back double? Was it back-to-back double faults and a tiebreaker against somebody in a major? Do you guys remember that? He back-to-back double faulted in a tiebreaker against somebody. He ended up winning the match, I want to say, but I can't remember now. But anyway, he has toned that down a little bit. Like he's not going. He still goes big on his second sometimes, but not as much as he was. I mean,
he blew the second set against Caboli with a double fault.
I think
he was up 40-15 against Caboli, and he blew at 5-6 down. He was up 40-15 and blew a game with at least one double fault, if not 2.
I think that one he might have gone big on too. He likes that down the middle second serve, 140 miles an hour.
Yeah. And then he also, what else did he blew a 5-0 lead to Radu Albot in a tiebreak with 3 mini breaks and a 5-0 lead.
Well, that's my point with the overs. Like he's going over against Radu Albot, right?
Yeah.
You can't break Radu Albot's serve. So if you're not breaking,
he was already going over that. That was that match. That over was already locked in even before the tiebreak.
No. So it's
yeah, something. I'm looking at Shelton's hard stats last 2 years. 54 matches, he's gone over 34 times.
Wow.
He's 34 and 20.
That's Hubie territory.
That's just hard. I would assume clay and grass are the same. Yeah, that's Hubie territory. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other takeaways? That's way over 15-minute recap, but I guess
we can never get a podcast done under 5 hours. Like it just doesn't happen.
Just doesn't happen.
We are a long form podcast, guys. That's what we do.
Too passionate.
We'll just put in timestamps to make sure that people who want to skip the preview can skip it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're good, let's take a 5-minute intermission before we go to Montreal.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Hello and welcome back to the show, everyone. So we're back to preview Montreal. So just a quick overview of the tournament. I think you guys pointed out before we resumed the show that they're changing surfaces, right?
Yeah, I guess it's a different type of hardcore. I'm not really like an expert in like tennis court surfaces, but like but it's supposed to supposed to make things a little quicker, I guess. I don't really know, but yeah, they are changing the surface. I think it used to
Yeah,
be a Deco Turf, and now it's some different company that got the court contract.
Okay. Yeah, I think there are a
yeah,
lot of variables with this tournament because, like, A, the surface is switching. B, guys are transitioning from clay to hard. They haven't played hard courts in 4 months. And C, there's a massive travel spots, with people coming from Paris, the Olympics. And then D, a lot of guys are coming back from injury, like Hubie, Demonor, uh,
Dimitrov.
Dimitrov.
Baena. He's first match back on tour, right? He played some challengers, I guess.
Who?
RCB.
Oh, Carvalles Baena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was trying to figure out that match earlier. I mean, there's nothing on him for other than some challenger matches last couple of years.
Pospisil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh, so
I-
yeah,
I think the only important note here to call out for some viewers potentially, and I imagine if you're actually watching this show, you probably know this, but this event, the Canadian Masters, it flips between Montreal and Toronto every year. So like you can't necessarily use anything like you can't just take the Canadian Masters and assume it's all the same place, right? Like they do this event does swap back and forth with the WTA every year. So and like we said, it's new surface, it's the US Open balls, which I think I heard they're using now for the entire US Open series.
okay,
So
that's
that's
good.
kind of interesting.
Good thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for the tour. But yeah, so just a note there. Like I don't know, it makes it I do feel like if you, Piranha, I'm sure you. I know you were saying you have some good stuff on the qualifying match. I feel like that's almost where I would go to look for like court information here.
Yeah, so there were what 12, 14 qualifying matches. It must have been withdrawals or something. I don't know, but I have 14
Well,
and
two didn't get completed.
oh, okay.
Well,
So
they still
that's
have
it.
quite a few to be completed tomorrow. Honestly,
Oh, do
there's
they?
Kazo Daniel,
Well,
Rinky is in the third set. Kokonakis, like, it got
Oh
rained
no,
out.
you know what it is, Tony? They have 7 qualifiers for this event because it's a 56-man tournament. There's
okay.
7 qualifiers. So there were 14 first-round qualifying matches.
Yeah, so I've got the first 14. I had data on everybody but Draxel and Body, Taha Body. Other than that, like it was all tour players that actually there was one other guy, Nicholas Arsenal. But besides them, I had data on everybody. So anyway, in terms of aces expected, it's basically almost exactly. I mean, I had them at 162, or I had 168 expected. They're at 162. So the other thing is Montreal 2 years ago was like dead smack in the middle. Toronto, I don't know if it matters, but they're dead smack in the middle every year. I looked at women's Montreal last year, dead smack in the middle. So it's like as medium as you can get. Now, they do have a surface change. I don't know, maybe that affects it a couple percent. The balls, I guess, maybe. I mean, this whole thing with the balls, I mean, you hear two players in the exact same tournament say exactly different, opposite things. So one says it
Well,
flies.
that's true of court speed too, right? It's really hard.
Right,
I agree. It's really
right,
hard to use player quotes to get like to get
right.
information. There are some legendary quotes. Vico Pelka said one year that like Roland Garros was like faster than Wimbledon.
Yeah.
So I would say it's dead in the middle until further notice. The qualifiers are supporting that. I wouldn't expect it to be. Also, the weather up there is not, it's not going to be 95 degrees. It
Yeah,
never
it's
is.
mid 70s the entire week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there's chances of rain, but Tuesday through Thursday is pretty good.
Yeah,
And
it should be medium.
And
I'd be
low
shocked.
wind, right? I think I saw basically no wind, so that's kind of interesting.
at night, conditions are considerably slower, according to Pro Nishikori. The ball doesn't bounce very high on this particular hard court surface.
Well, that's according to I think that's according to the player quotes, which is
Yeah.
probably true because they had quite a few players who were not liking the bounce, but to Prana's point, like that often depends if it's a win or a loss.
That's true.
Yeah.
A lot of people say these Wilson balls are kind of like lively. Like they're hard to control.
I read that too. Yeah. Um, yeah, again, it's so hard to know for, what's really going
Yeah.
on with that because you get so much conflicting information. But yeah, I read that too, that the Medvedev had said that it flies off the racket.
Well, that's probably after a loss.
No, he liked it. I think he was saying that
Oh, he
for
liked
the
it?
guys who aren't able to generate as much power, he liked that aspect that he could get more
Okay.
power off of it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I'll be shocked if this isn't a medium court. Like it's
Yeah.
always been dead set middle.
Yep.
Toronto's been middle. It's middle so far this year. There's nothing weather-wise that would suggest otherwise.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's gonna move. It would move on the margins, maybe a percent or two or
Couple
something.
percent.
It's not gonna.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to suddenly be super fast or super slow.
All right, so let's get right into the draw here. As far as future prices, I see outrights. Do you see quarter prices, Brad?
I didn't see anything on quarters. I mean, I would imagine. Well, there probably isn't because qualifying is not complete.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Usually the betting markets will put out outrights without qualifiers complete. But at least from what I've seen, it's very rare to put out quarter prices until qualies are done.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially with like there being pretty small quarters because it's a 56-man draw. I mean, I guess this is worth noting. So it's a little bit of a weird event. It's still a 7-day event, right? It's just Tuesday to Monday.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Finals Monday. Yeah.
And it's a 56-man event, so they're gonna play 6 rounds in 7 days.
Yeah.
Which means unlike the 96-man Masters now, it's gonna be a lot of quick back-to-backs for guys.
Yeah, which means it's probably not the best tournament to back Sinner in.
Well, that's what I meant, right? Guys or anybody who you're worried about fatigue with, there's gonna probably be back-to-back days. Well, there will be. I mean, the last 5
Draper.
days you're probably gonna play back-to-back to be exactly. Yep.
All right,
Yeah,
so
I'm with.
top half of the draw, we get the return of world number 1, Yannick Sinner. He'll have a bye in the first round. He'll play the winner of a qualifier in Pedro Martinez. Lorenzo Sonego will play Talon Griekspoor. Tiafoe will play Tabilo, and I think is one of the best first-round matches, to be honest. Tommy Paul will play Darderi. Shapovalov will play a qualifier. Echeverry will play Yari, and Rublev has a bye. Takeaways. I really like the draw for Sinner, honestly. Did he take some vitamin C? That's my question. But if he did, then I can't see him losing in this quarter, to be honest. I think Paul is the only one that really has a chance. And it's a surface transition for him. It is a good surface for him. Like I think this kind of hard court is where he would thrive. But that's really the only guy I see like has the potential of beating him on this kind of court. What do you guys think?
I would
I
agree.
mean, I think Rublev's just because I know he's been I know he's been terrible, as of what I mean, he's actually playing a little better maybe recently, but it's still not at his full Rublev level yet. But I always think Rublev's got some sort of hope. He's got a bye, he's got another pretty good draw. Yeah, that was the only other guy who I think even has a 5% chance of winning this quarter. Everybody else is pretty hopeless.
I agree.
Yeah. All right, second quarter here, we got Medvedev. He'll play the winner of Fokina and Roman Safiullin. Qualifier will play Matteo Arnaldi. Gabriel Diallo will play the struggling Karen Kachanov. Ugo Humbert against Arthur Fils, battle of the two Frenchmen. We got Nuno Borges will play Kecmanovic. Michelson will play Nishikori, and that winner will play Stefanos Tsitsipas. I really like Medvedev as well in this quarter. I don't see anyone that can really beat him.
I mean, a lot of guys in this quarter with a lot of talent, or a lot of really good tennis players in this quarter who either they're struggling or it might. I mean, if it's a medium paced court, like not ideal for Steph, but not terrible. I mean, Fokina is always theoretically a threat if he doesn't choke, but that's probably more likely than not. Saflin could be decent depending on the quickness of the surface.
But I think Medvedev matches up so well with or all of these guys are a terrible matchup against Medvedev. Like Fokina and Roman just don't make enough balls and are not mentally stable enough to deal with Medvedev. Arnaldi, that's a very poor matchup. Kachanov, we said the movement gap is too massive. Humbert has been struggling. Fils is too erratic. Borges and Kecmanovic just don't have the tools. Michelson is smart, but physically can't match with Medvedev. Tsitsipas on this surface, I don't think it's slow enough. Like I think that's actually a decent matchup for Tsitsipas, but like I just don't think he's playing well enough at the moment to deal with Medvedev. Like I think this is a fantastic quarter for Medvedev. Like I would take anything better than like minus 110 to win this quarter.
I'm not that far off you, Manny. I had my break even price on Medvedev to be like somewhere around maybe plus 110. Now I'd want to have some ROI on it, so I'd want to be like, probably at least plus 120, plus 130 to take him to win the quarter. But yeah, I tend to agree with you on that. Yeah, I mean, I think Steph might be more. I don't know that he's live enough to actually put a bet on an outright, but I think Steph's got a chance in this quarter. I mean, like him and Medvedev have had a pretty good back and forth, in their career.
Yeah, but I also think Tsitsipas has regressed in terms of his level.
Yeah, he's not as good as he was when he made the finals of Australian last year.
Exactly,
He's definitely regressed from that. He's not
right.
quite there. Yeah, he has. I don't think mentally he's completely there.
I don't think he's all there. I think he's just deflated with what's happened. Like, now he thought that, once Djokovic gets older, then the dolls, kind of filters away, right? Like he'll have a chance to win slams. And now this beast called Carlos Alcaraz came about. And I feel like Tsitsipas is just like in awe of him. Like he's kind of just conceded that he's not as good as him, And I feel like that's really deflated him from a tennis perspective. And like now he's like enjoying his photography and all that other stuff. And I feel like his focus is not really on tennis anymore.
That was the last
like.
part of what you said. I agree with. I don't think it has to do with Carl. I think it has to do with his love life. Like he fell in love, and suddenly every tennis got less important to him.
But I think
he said
it's a
publicly
product,
that.
like the fact that he's like so far away now, with the rise of Alcaraz and Sinner, I feel like he's kind of conceded defeat to them.
I would fade that take, and I would back Piranha's take. I'd also say I could definitely see burnout from having to deal with his family for so long, to be honest.
Yeah, that could be part of it. His dad. There seems to be something going on there. Yeah.
I'm exhausted every time they show him on the camera. I can't imagine what he's feeling.
That's what I mean. Like at some point, right? You just got to be tired of dealing with it, and and it's just got to be tough, mentally to keep dealing, really wanting to deal with that, and really wanting to like stay positive, and
yeah.
So, but I mean, I still think like looking at that draw, like he should still. I mean, he should make the quarters, right? Like he should beat Mickelson, Nishikori. I guess maybe Fils could be a challenge if he gets there, but that's far from a guarantee.
I think Humbert is a tough matchup if he gets there because that lefty serve to his backhand, I think that could be.
I mean, Humbert just hasn't been at a good level though in a while, right? Like,
I actually think Michelson. I mean, he doesn't hit that big, but like he has an aggressive-minded game.
I think that's going to be a tough match for him. I think that'll be a good. I think that'll be a good match.
All right.
When we get to the match breakdowns, I'll go through some of Mickelson's. I mean, he can't win a third set. I mean, he's so close to like having a crazy good record.
Yeah, that's true.
He's losing every third set,
I
like in
think
tie
fitness is a
breaks,
problem with
7-5.
him. I
It
don't think
has to
he's
be.
fit enough.
If you look at his results, I mean, he just keeps losing like 7-6, 7-5 in the third, and he's got a lot of really good wins. He's losing to good players like in the third set. Um,
Okay.
yeah, he's very close to breaking through, in my opinion.
All right, bottom half of the draw, we got Grigor Dimitrov. He will play a qualifier in the first round. Popperin will play Tomas Mahach. Bublik will play Ben Shelton. Felix Auger-Aliassime will play Kaboli. The Washington finalist versus the fourth place in Paris. Monterino will play a qualifier. He's definitely a fade at the moment. Qualifier will play Gael Monfils, and then that winner will play Hubie Hurkacz, the 4 seed. This is a really tough quarter to cap. I mean, there are a lot of qualifiers that have to be placed. I actually think a qualifier could be live here. Honestly. Hubie coming off an injury, like he can lose to anyone or he can beat anyone. But I wouldn't back him here just because of the injury. Auger-Aliassime and Kaboli both had long weeks last week. FA had the travel spot. I don't know if I could back either of those guys here. Bublik or Shelton, like we talked about Shelton in the recap, like, you know, he's gonna go over versus everyone. This is like an impossible quarter to get a grasp on. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and the other guys in the quarter you didn't mention are Bublik. You got Bublik in this quarter, who's always a wild card. Popperin's kind of a wild card too, although maybe
Yeah, he's struggled
it's
recently.
just not. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I think about Popperin. Maybe he's just not that good. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then Mahach is also probably in that same category of like, I don't know. He's decent, but probably not that good in this kind of Masters draw. It's an interesting, like, I feel like this is one we'll have to see, like, I'll have to see it. I want to see a match of Dimitrov. And the problem is, like, by the time I see a match of Dimitrov and Hubie, it's going to be in the third round. So for betting purposes, like for betting outrights, the prices might change quite a bit. But I feel like you got to see a match or two here with with basically everybody in this draw. Because I don't know what the status is of like the only guy who I feel confident that I know his status is Popperin and Mahach. And they're probably not that likely to win the quarter.
I know. I mean, we know what we're gonna get from Shelton, right? But like, is he
right?
good?
But he'll be overpriced.
Right. Exactly.
He already is, I think.
I mean, like for what it's worth, and I'm sure I'll never get this price on him, but I've got him at like 20-1 to win the quarter.
Yeah, I would say more like 20 to 25 to 1. Yeah, in that range. I agree with you.
And I think he's probably close to that to win the event. I think he's like 30 to 40 to win the event. Like,
what do you think the chances are that like FA could maintain that form that he showed last week? Like I want to see a match from him before I really evaluate that, but like I think there is a slight chance of him continuing a good level.
I think it's a wide range of outcomes there, right? Like that's my take. Because like the other question is like, is he excited to have gotten to the semis of the Olympics? Is he disappointed to not have medaled?
Well,
he
medaled in mixed doubles.
True. Oh, that was something I wanted to mention. Like when it comes to travel spots, there's a couple guys here who didn't have to play singles all week necessarily, but did have to stick around for doubles.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Mahach is one of them.
Mahach, FAA, Paul and Fritz got the bronze, I believe, in men's doubles.
So he stuck around, yeah.
Yeah, like there's a few guys here who, and it's not only that, but it's like they played singles and doubles at the Olympics. Like Fritz played singles, doubles, and mixed.
And I also wonder if like a guy like Darderi, did he stick around just to like cheer on his Italian teammates?
To cheer on Musetti?
Yeah, or maybe went to other sporting events. Like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like there's no guarantee that Darderi is going to be there in 4 years, right? Like
He
Oh,
was
I
in
would
the
say it's probably less than 50% likely.
exactly. So
he was in the village partying for the last week
exactly. So I
on a
think
on a 5-day bender heading to Montreal.
Also for Dartery, like this next 3 months is another bender because like
yeah.
I mean I don't know how much Darteri's played on hard courts, but I don't think that's like his forte. Like his season's basically done. It is really funny. Like so there was a lot I've heard some talk like, oh, the Olympics was on clay, like it's weird for the Olympics to be on clay, but like for a lot of these clay quarters, the Olympics was like the end of their season in some ways. Like for some of these guys who are clay specialists, like that was it, man. Like their season's basically done. Like for like a guy like a Baez, like
I mean, Darderi's going to be back in the challenger circuit pretty soon. Like, you know,
no, his ranking's in the top 40, isn't it?
it is, but
It-
if he's going to realize that he's just going to not do anything on hard courts and then just have, like be, oh,
No, but he'll keep all his points until next year.
that's true. That's true.
And then he's got more clay events to go win. Like that's,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean that quarter is just very, very difficult to pick
yeah,
up
it's a
on.
tough one.
I mean, I think you got to get a read in 2 rounds. Like, let's see what Hubie and Dimitrov look like coming back off of injury.
Yeah.
Because like they're both really good hardcores. Like those two guys are actually like those two guys are both priced. Well, we'll get into the prices later, but I think it's worth discussing those two guys in terms of the outright market. Not saying betting, but I think it's worth discussing.
Okay. And then the fourth quarter, we got Casper Ruud, number 6 seed. He'll get a bye. He'll play Nori or Giron. Korda, the Washington champion, will play Pospisil. Mariana Navoni will play Fritz. Holger Rune will play Milos Raonic. Marajan will play Karina Busta. Thompson will play Draper, and I think it's one of the better first-round matches there, too. And then Zverev is the number 2 seed. So, I mean, this is actually a pretty tough quarter, to be honest. I'm curious to see what Fritz's price will be. Because, like, Fritz is one of those guys with, like, I don't think really a travel spot or a surface transition really affects him. I feel like he just grinds and digs deep in any match he plays. And he's kind of built that reputation, and I actually really respect him for that. And I think Korda could be a fade here, honestly. Coming off that title run. Ruud is obviously a fade here. I don't think anyone can deny that. And then like Zverev.
Ooh, okay, Manny.
Really?
Okay. What is Casper Ruud's winning percentage on hard courts last 52 weeks?
I don't really care. To me, that doesn't matter that much.
And where does it rank on the ATP Tour?
Okay.
The answer is he's 67% win percentage in the last 52 weeks on hard court.
Wow.
That's tied for, I think, 11th on the tour. Like, I think he's a really underrated hard quarter.
Milos has got him beat percentage.
I mean, like, I would rather back him here than say Cincinnati, for example, where it's a little bit slower, like it's a more of a neutral court. But I don't know. We never also had this like quick surface transition for him with the Olympics, I feel like Ruud.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's as like, I don't think it's as simple as saying, oh, Ruud's a bad hard quarter. Like, I know he got a good draw, but he did make a U.S. Open final. Like, it's slow or hard, but he did make an Indian Wells quarter this year. He made Acapulco final, Los Cabos final. Like, I'm not saying quick courts are good for his game, but I don't know. I think we get a little overhyped on the Root as a bad hard quarter train. Like I don't think I don't know. I think he might be like I'm not saying it's a top 10 hard quarter. I think that's like the win percentage thing is a little overstated. I agree, but I brought it up as a point to say that I don't think he's like outside the top 50 on this surface.
No, I wouldn't say that, but like Nori got him in Australia this year, and then Giron has shown like good on North American hard courts, like good form. Like
So would you put your own above Rude?
no, I'm not saying Rude should be an underdog in that match. I think any price better than like plus 160, I would hammer Giron in that spot. Like what price would you need for Nori or Giron against Rude?
Well, so Nori's price would probably be lower, right? I would need a better price on Nori than your own. Um, I don't know. I mean, it's probably around what you're saying, Manny, but I think that's more like, for me, that's more of like your own's actually had a pretty good year.
Yeah, I mean, Giron is a dog against Nori. Well, we'll get into that match later, but I think like I think Rude should be a favorite against both of those guys, but I don't think it should be that big. Like I think it's like a 50-50 proposition against either of those guys, honestly.
Oh, I would disagree with that. Rude is a step above Nori or your own on a hardcore. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, just to give you kind of quick service point return points, Garon's at 102. Why do I not have Casper Root in here? They're both at 102 last year. They both have played 37 matches. Who was the other guy we were saying besides Garon? Nori.
But what's the level of competition of those two guys?
Let me put it back. Hold on. Marcus Giron. So Rude is he's at 102. This is service return points. He's been an average 3-game favorite. Giron almost identical, 102, and he has been a pick'em. So much more impressive for just again, this is relative to
to himself, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just look at Nori. Yeah, Nori's at 100 in his level of competition. He's been basically a pick'em. So yeah, I mean,
it is interesting. It is interesting that's a good call out though, Piranha. I mean, the you're right. Despite Rude is 26-13 with a service points return points of 102. That seems like a pretty
good.
Right, relative to the record, right? Like he's winning close matches.
Yeah, that's not very good for being an average 3-game favorite. That should be a lot higher. That should be like 105, 106.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the matches. I'm not
He went
sure.
3 sets with Van Ash in Miami. We saw part of that Fokina match in Miami. Remember, like Fokina should have.
Fokina is. I mean, that was another Fokina choke. Like pretty much every day is for Fokina, but yeah.
Indian Wells. I mean, that's a surface that should be really good for Rude, and like he went 3 with Monfils.
And Monfils can go through with anybody. Monfils took a set off center earlier this year.
That's a good point. He made finals in Acapulco, but that's a slow hard court. And his run was okay. I mean, he went 3 with Eubanks, beat Lajovic 4 and 5, beat Shelton in 3 sets, and then he beat Rune in 3 sets. So like not really an impressive run to the final. And then like the one good player he played as Demonor and lost 4 and 4 pretty easily. Lost to Thompson and Los Cabos on another surface that's really good for him. And then lost to Nori in Australia. So like and went 5 sets with Max Purcell. Like it's not a great hard court run, honestly.
It's very rare to have a guy to have 37 matches on a guy and have him be an average 3-game favorite. So he somehow is running into pretty easy competition, unless he's had like some really big spreads in some matches.
Well, he's also, to be fair, he's also known as a top player, right? So he's going to be a favorite, right? Like that plays into that.
Right.
Like I mean, he's a top 10 player. I'm not saying he's a top 10 player on hard courts, but he's a top 10 player.
But you should also be running into, you should be getting deep in the tournament and running into more tougher matches and then underdog. Like
We all know Ruud loves to play like 500s and 250s.
Yeah. Like
Right.
I don't even think Sinner's. I'll have to check. My Excel's frozen. Oh, it just shut off. Good. But I don't even think like Sinner's probably like an average 3-game favorite in every match.
Right.
And that is a great point. Like, so I was probably a little, I don't know, overzealous in my rating of Ruud. I mean, I still, it's
well, he's
yeah,
better
he's
than
definitely
Giron and I agree though. He's better than Giron and Norrie.
Yeah, but anything I'm plus 125 or 130, I think that's the accurate price per Giron or Norrie in that matchup. Which is pretty close to pick. It's not necessarily pick, but like I think it's like a 60-40 proposition or 55-50.
Well, you said it was 50-50 before, so now you moved to 55-45.
Well, 50, yeah, 55-45. Okay. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, 60-40 is minus 150, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably more where I have it. Probably like probably a minus 165 plus 135 is probably where I would put it.
Okay.
I'd lean more that way too, but I'm terrible with like pricing things exactly. But that is interesting to see that he's played that level of competition over that many matches.
Well, it's also fast. I also think that just the general disparity of winning 2/3 of your matches, despite being just 102 in serve points won, return points won, is pretty fascinating as well.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty. That's got to be on the. That's got to be pretty lucky, right? Like.
Yeah, I'd have to look unless he just got absolutely blown out in like a couple matches that are kind of skewing
We talked
it.
about
I'm not sure.
We talked about Federer getting easy draws. I think Ruud is probably
he's the king.
He's the king of getting
But he also plays in like he also loves to vulture 500s and 250s. Like that's kind of what he plays. It feels like he plays a lot more of those than a guy like a Sinner or a lot of these other top 10 players, who play like a higher percentage of Masters and Slams.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, Ruud doesn't even play the grass up until Wimbledon. And then he shows up for 1 or 2 matches at Wimbledon and like doesn't even practice. Like it's kind of fascinating how he just completely disregards the greens.
This is actually a really tough quarter, honestly. To have Fritz there, Rune, Thompson, Draper, Zverev. I think that's the strongest quarter in the draw. I don't necessarily think any of these guys really have a chance to win the title per se, but I think it's the toughest quarter, like top to bottom.
Yeah, sure. Maybe. I mean, yeah, I actually think Q3 could be also.
No,
like Q3's got a lot of good players in it. It just depends on like how guys play coming off of injury. And whether or not Bublik decides to show up for this particular event.
All right, so let's look at outright
prices.
So obviously Sinner is probably the favorite, right?
Yeah, Sinner's plus 160 to win the event. I mean, you could probably shop around and get something like between plus 150 and plus 200. But
yeah, just for reference, my Excel came back up. Sinner 49 matches. He's been a 3.6 game favorite. So that 3 number is incredibly high for Ruud.
Yeah. And like I said, I think the winning 2/3 of your matches by being at 102 is just incredible. Also, like he's got to be winning. Like I wonder what his record is in 3 setters during that or in deciding sets.
Yeah, I would have to look more into that, see what's going on. Sometimes you get some outlier kind of. I don't know if he had a match where he just
you do get some outlier results. That's true. That's true. You do get some outlier.
It's possible if
But
he
it doesn't
just
look like it. I'm going through his matches right now, and I think the worst he got beat was like the 4-4 that he took against Demonor.
yeah, it's strange then.
So it really does seem like he just can't win. Like, I don't know. It's yeah.
So my favorite play here is Medvedev to win the title at 6-1.
I think that's a pretty accurate price. Like, but I get it. Like, I think it depends on what you think about Medvedev versus Sinner. Because I think that's probably a pretty likely
It's likely, and I
situation.
actually think it's a decent. Like, I think we got prisoner of the moment from the Sinner beatdown in Miami and like him winning 5 in a row, right? But like a lot of the matches were close. I think it's a good matchup for Medvedev. And I think the fact that Sinner is gonna like this is not a 10-day Masters, and it's a Masters in which he's gonna have to play 4 matches like in a row to get to that semi. I think that could be problematic for Sinner more so than Medvedev. So I think this is a good spot to back him.
So here's my problem, right? We both agreed, Manny, that he's basically somewhere in both of our opinions around 1 out of 2, 50% to win the quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Given that I think Sinner's going to win I mean, I've got Sinner, but I've got Sinner at a minus money price. Theoretically, I don't think I would ever bet it, but I've got him at theoretically a minus money price to win Q1, just because he's so much better than everybody else in that quarter.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 1 out of 2 chance to win the quarter, which means he's then got to be 30%, 2 out of 7, 20, whatever that is, 28, 29% in order for that to be break even. And he's got to be a dog. At least I would think he's a, like, I think it's more likely than not that he's a dog in the semis. So I think it's hard to make that up. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got like maybe I don't know, call it 40 or 45%. Like, I think it's close to a good price, but I think he's got maybe a 40 or 45% chance of winning in the semis, and maybe like a 60-ish% chance, call it, of winning in the finals.
Yeah, but I think
So if you do all that
be,
math, I've got him
think
around 12 to
Medvedev and
13% to win the tournament.
flipped.
What?
I think Medvedev and Zverev should be flipped.
I might even agree with you there that Medvedev should be second favorite, but I don't think there's value at 6-1 is my point. Now when he's probably got to play Sinner in a semi. I don't think it's a terrible bet. Like, I think it's better than backing Sinner, Zverev, or most of the guys on this board. But I wouldn't, I'm not taking, I mean, yeah, I don't, I have a hard time backing somebody at such a short price when they're probably going to be a dog and a big dog. Like, if he plays Sinner, he's probably a plus 200 dog.
Yeah, but I'm banking on, like, I think there are a lot of variables that can hurt Sinner. Like, I agree that Sinner should be a favorite to win that quarter, but he could get sick, he could play a long match and then not have enough gas in the tank against Medvedev. I feel like I'm lower on Sinner now than you are, too.
It's more just me, like, calculating out probabilities, right? Like, it's more me saying if he's one, I'm just like calculating the probabilities. I don't see the value there. Calculating it, like, again, we agree he's 1 out of 2 to win the quarter. I think he's less than 1 out of 2 to win in the semis if he wins the quarter. So
well, even if you made him 50-50, you're 1 out of 8 now, right?
That's my point, Tony.
One out
That's
of
exactly
2, 1
my
out
point.
of 4, 1 out. Just quickly, I'll say my little bit on outrights and probably not much more because I don't bet them. But I started tracking actually the last tournament, just comparing how rollovers do to how you would do betting outrights versus rollovers. And I've been talking a little bit with Tidbits Tennis, and then also I just talked to somebody in a forum last night about it who has tracked it already. He said 95% of the time you're going to do better with rollovers. This is according to someone in a forum. I do think he knows what he's talking about, but I'm going to track it anyway. One of the exceptions would be what we were just talking about, where like if you bet Medvedev and say Sinner, like a bunch of the other big favorites get knocked out, and he just has this. He's a favorite every round, and he gets through, and you rolled that over, and now you're only getting 5-1 instead of 6-1. But that's like the rare case where it does work out, where the outright price works out better. I realize it's not nearly as much fun as it is just to bet an outright and have a lot of money, because you're going to get to that point. Like if you had rolled over Caboli last night, you would have been betting like some absurd amount of money, like 32 times what you started with to win 100 and something.
You have to stay
times.
disciplined in your rollover. Like you have to place the bet every time. And like I feel like at some point when I just have that sum, I'm just gonna like leave it, you know? It's not gonna be
for me, it's more like somewhere around along the line, you're gonna find a match you don't like the line on, right? Like if you like, I'm not gonna commit to roll a guy 6 times because like probably one of those 6 matches I'm gonna not agree with. I'm gonna think the line is, you know, like not worth placing the rollover on.
Yeah, well, that's the other way to look
at it. Like you pay the vig every time, so like you have to like the
you have that flexibility if you do roll over. But that's all. I know it's not as much fun, and I still do place outrights myself. I usually take flyers on like 100-1 shots for fun.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So what I was gonna say is, I guess on the outright versus rollover, like I completely agree, Tony. Like for me to back, if you're backing an outright, you really almost have to be betting on a guy in that section of the draw instead of on a favorite, if that makes sense, right? Like it's got to be like you don't like in Medvedev's case, you would have to say like, okay, I don't think Sinner is winning the quarter,
right?
And I really like Medvedev, so therefore I'm going to back a Medvedev outright because I don't think I'm going to see that dog price against Sinner.
Yeah. And the other case too would be like an injury or withdrawal or whatever too, because
that's true too. Yeah, because injury. Yeah. Yep.
So, and that does, especially those the smaller events, that happens a fair amount.
Yeah. Right.
But the problem, it goes the other way, right? Like that's the disadvantage of the outright as well, is if your guy pulls out with an injury,
exactly,
then you lose.
Right.
Whereas on the rollover, you would have won everything you rolled over up to that point.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Right. If Medvedev and Sinner play in the semis, which I feel is pretty likely, what do you think the line should be?
I would give Medvedev like a 1 out of 3 chance.
Yeah, I'd go even less. I'd probably make Sinner like 250, 270 maybe.
Minus 250?
So a little bit higher, like 70% instead of 66.
I'd make it more like minus 190. Minus 180.
So 65?
You're going a little bit lower. Yeah, so if we take the average, we're at Brad.
Yeah.
What did they've played? I wonder what let me see what the line
was. I think Sinner's won 5 of the last 6. Now Medvedev did win the last one. No, did he?
Yeah,
no.
Wimbledon.
Yeah, Wimbledon, yeah. So
let me look I'll find it on hard. I'll see what the lines have been between the two of them.
Yeah, what site do you use for that, Tony? Odds Tracker or something? Or what is it called? Odds Checker, Odds Tracker? There's a site that does that.
I believe it or not, I just have it in a spreadsheet. I enter actually every single thing by hand after.
There's actually a website that does. I think it's called Odds Tracker or something, where you can. I was looking at it actually last night. I can't remember the name of the site offhand.
Yeah, that's where I get the closing lines from. It's
Odds Portal, maybe.
Odds Portal. Yeah, exactly.
So
you got to be careful with their. They're not 100% accurate, and if a match gets delayed, then they really get messed up. Like they'll use the live line for the next day, like on a match as the closing line.
Oh, okay.
So you got to be careful. I mean, they are accurate like 95% of the time, but they also miss line moves. The opening lines aren't really accurate. The closing lines are pretty good. So the last time Sinner played Miami, Sinner was minus 176. Med was 156. That wasn't long ago.
We both hit. I think we hit
5 months ago.
Line. That's a GBM play, and he lost 2-1.
Yeah, so that was only 176, 156. So I think I'm too high on Sinner with 250.
I think Sinner's level has dipped since then, though.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's it's always hard to judge Sinner because like you
Yeah.
always have to ask like, was he healthy?
Okay,
He
well,
was in
this is
that match.
Yeah, 5-setter, he was minus 230. Australian Open, he was minus 230. So that would
Yeah, but that
equate
was the
to the same thing.
Medvedev fatigue spot, right?
Well, just because it was 5 sets too. That's actually like a same line for a 3-setter.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I
But also
think
the Medvedev fatigue of playing 5 sets with Hubie and Zverev, that was baked in.
yeah, maybe a little bit. You're right.
Right.
But Sinner hadn't won a slam up until that point, so that I mean, there's a lot of things to think about there.
Yeah. Brad, do
You're
you have an
probably
outtake
right.
here?
I'm probably gonna go the rollover instead, but I thought it was worth I think Dimitrov or Hubie are amazing prices. The only problem is obviously both are coming off of injuries, which kind of makes me a little skittish, and I won't be betting on them because of that. But otherwise, I think those are both fantastic prices at 25 to 1, especially given that, I mean, that quarter doesn't have a dominant like player in it. In the bottom half, I don't think has anybody who's particularly scary, right? You'd only be having to face one of Medvedev or Sinner.
I like
So I think
Fritz
those are what?
I like Fritz at 22 to 1.
I don't particularly, but that's just because there's a lot of good players. I mean, like I don't know. I think I think Dimitrov and Hubie are a cut above Fritz on a hard court, personally.
I think they have more potential to beat the top guy than
That's
Fritz.
true too, Tony. That's a great point. Like Fritz, if he goes up against Medvedev or Sinner, he's just dead.
He doesn't have the weapon. He just has nothing he can do.
Yeah,
Like
he
Hubie
has
at
ball
least,
striking. Right.
Hubie can get the tiebreakers and maybe win them.
Well, I think
And
Hubie
Dimitrov's
has
pretty
the best
creative.
chance.
Dimitrov can
Yeah,
do maybe.
Dimitrov.
I mean,
Yeah,
he beat the crap out of Alcaraz. He played amazing to do it, but he beat the crap out of
Yeah.
Alcaraz.
That was a once like that was a purple patch kind of match. Like I don't.
He does that
I
every
get
once in
it,
a
but
while.
again, like have we ever seen Fritz play a purple patch match?
Just yeah, Fritz is like the
The
gatekeeper.
last
I mean,
3 sets against Zverev at Wimbledon. Probably
I mean, Zverev was hurt. Like
Yeah.
Fritz really should have won that match, probably more easily, honestly.
Nadal at Indian Wells. I mean, that was more hurt Nadal too, I guess.
Like, I really think he's a gatekeeper. Like, and that's not necessarily like an offensive thing, right? He still is a top 5 to 10 player. It's just like, just style wise.
Yeah, he doesn't have much upside. It's true.
And then the other guy, and again, I'm gonna play this as a rollover because I think your profits can be way higher, especially given he's a dog in round 1. And you can laugh at me, but Bublik at 100 to 1, I think is interesting. Like, again, I think he's better as a rollover for. Plus, he's like he could just decide to walk off the court in the middle of an event. Like, there's so many variables with him, or you could get an 11 a.m. match that you don't want to hit him. So I'd rather do it as a rollover. But I think that's a pretty good price. Another guy who's got the talent to win the event, if he decides he wants to play it.
Yeah, you never know with him.
Yeah. Again, I way prefer to play him as a rollover just because, like, you never know. And if, and he's a dog, plus it's a dog, and he's a big dog in round 1. Like, I got him, I don't know what the line is now, but I got him at plus 150, I think. And I saw it out to plus 160 this morning. It might have gone further. What?
Only you got him at plus 200, I believe. Right? Are you there, Tony?
Oh, sorry. I was looking something up. Say it again.
Oh, no worries. You got Bublik at plus 200, right?
Not that high. No.
Okay.
I think he was he may even be 180 or 190.
Okay.
No, it was like 190 to plus. I took him at plus 160, I think, this morning.
So now he's at 170. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
For tomorrow morning, he's at 170.
So that's close. Yeah, I guess when we get to the match, or if you want to talk about it now, it's up to you.
Yeah, I guess
guys,
let's transition to that because there's not much on the outright market, honestly.
Yeah, there's nothing else I have. I won't be playing a particular outright. It's a tough event between having so many guys coming off of injury and having big favorites. I just think it's a hard event to call. Yeah. So we can start with the Bublik match because it's a good segue into it.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention I'm taking Pablo Carreno Busta to repeat. So I think he was 1,000 to 1. That's my outright.
Yeah, he's the defending champion in Montreal. It's true.
It is funny. Have we ever seen a defending champion get put as the lowest price on the board?
That's a good. I doubt it.
Like, and I'm not saying it's not deserved because I think it completely is, but it's just funny to see.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Can't even find this match on Boba. Oh, there it
It's
is.
second up, yeah.
Tony, your cup is blocking your face.
Oh, sorry.
All right, so let's start here. So Bublik is plus 170 dog, Shelton minus 210. Man, I this match can't be at 11 a.m., right?
Well, I would think the schedule would be out by now.
Yeah, the match is on Tuesday though.
Well, tomorrow's Tuesday.
Oh no,
Today's Tuesday.
Wednesday.
No, it's the oh really? Oh, it's a Wednesday match. Okay.
Yeah, they just didn't update it. Like they put all the round one on.
Okay.
Yeah, the same.
Well, then
time.
that's a little disappointing. But I mean, honestly, like I don't know. Even 11 a.m. Bublik, like, is he really a a plus 170? Like, is he like I can't see why the line should be this big.
I'm just pulling up my notes. I'm having some spreadsheet issues here.
I'm
There we go. Okay, I got it.
Playing overs on Bublik is very dangerous, right? Because he could.
I think in the first round, it's especially dangerous, especially coming off of like. Yeah, I mean, but it is 23 is pretty friendly for a matchup between two big servers. Oh, also, Tennis Master had a really good post on this. Bublik does really well against left-handers and really well against big servers.
That's interesting.
And Sean Calvert talked, I believe, on his podcast today that Shelton has a really bad record lately against lefties. He's like 1-7 or something. Was it? Am I?
Well, Bublik's a righty.
Yeah, he's right. What am I saying? Yeah, I'm thinking of something different. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get this price. I think I posted in the forum this morning. Can somebody find me a good player that Ben Shelton has beat this year? Nobody responded, so
yeah, I don't think this year. Like last year, he obviously had a bunch of big wins at the end of last year, but I don't understand. Like usually, I mean, yeah.
So Bublik beat Shelton in Madrid this year, 3-6, 7-6, 6-4. He beat Shang in Indian Wells 4-1. He lost to Humbert 4-3. I'm just looking at Bublik's record against lefties. He beat Chapeau in the Montpellier title he won. Lost 6-4 to Draper in Adelaide. So he's 4-2 against lefties this year.
He's 14-7, I believe, overall. I don't have like United Cup and stuff like that, but I have him as
he's 35-19 against lefties, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand this price. Like, how is he plus 170? But like, he's everything I see is better than Ben outside of Shelton went to the U.S. Open quarterfinals.
Yeah,
Whenever that was. Like,
when Tiafoe made the semis, they're still baking that into his line.
I don't get it. Like, who is Shelton beat? I mean, he's lost to Saflin, Taro Daniel. He lost to Manarino, Tommy Paul, Rude, Musetti, Shang, Kabali. Who is he beat?
It's also worth pointing out Bublik's beaten Shelton twice in the past. What I call it, 15 months.
Yeah.
And I think like head to head isn't always super relevant, but I think you could have a narrative here that says that like Bublik likes to do a lot of goofy stuff, and with Shelton not being the best tactical player, like that's kind of a problem. Like, didn't you say, Tony, you watched him actually play Bublik and Shelton play the one clay match, and Shelton looked absolutely clueless how to handle a drop shot?
Yeah. I don't remember.
I think you said that. Like,
I
mean,
you said that too.
I don't remember watching that match, but like, Shelton's definitely not the best guy out there tactically. He's good at the net, but he's not particularly good tactically.
Yeah.
I could see Bublik too roping him into that kind of like showmanship type of game where he starts getting Ben to get out of what he's normally doing. That's not hard to do. Like Ben kind of likes to put on a show, I think.
Oh yeah, no, this is a showman's match. Like,
yeah, and Bublik's gonna win that, I think, because he's smarter.
he is. I mean, Bublik actually is smart. He's just like,
yeah,
he's just a clown. But it's not that he's dumb. He's just a clown.
Right. He's a goofball.
Yeah.
I think at plus 170, you got to hit it.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Of everything,
I mean, I guess the answer would be that if you're looking at Bublik results, so you just asked who has Shelton beaten, but like who has Bublik beaten this year besides the default against Rublev?
Musetti, Felix.
I mean, I don't know if I would put Felix at that. I mean, Felix wasn't playing nearly as well as he is now, but fair.
Well, he did
win Montpellier.
He's got like 4 wins that are better than anybody Shelton's beat, in my opinion. Or
I don't disagree.
As good or better, maybe.
I don't disagree. I guess I'm just saying, like, and you never know how to judge like how well is Bublik playing because like there's a lot of questions there, but like he doesn't seem to be playing as well as he was maybe 6 months ago, or to a year ago.
So risky to bet Bublik in a first round of a tournament, like.
But you're getting plus 170. Like if this was at pick, I would completely agree. But I can't really see how this is plus 170.
Yeah, I think this should be closer to a pick. Just service points, return points, they're close. Ben's at 102, but he's been a 1.6 game favorite. Bublik's at 100, and he's been a 0.4 game favorite. So
Tony, what is Shelton in general? Like, if you bet on Shelton over the past, like, let's just take this year. If you bet on Shelton this calendar, I've got to think you'd be down.
You would be up on the money line. You'd be up 3.7 units. This is not the calendar year. This is 1 year. So going back to August.
52 weeks. That makes sense because he did have a really good run at the end of last year.
Yeah.
I was thinking more calendar year 24.
Yeah, I could put it in, but it would take me a couple
minutes
to change all the formulas.
I get it. That's fine. I'm not going to make you do that. But it does seem like Shelton's not... I don't know if it's that he's not playing at the same level or if he's just not catching the breaks.
Well, he had a really good end to the last year. Like he was
also super quick Asian hard courts.
Yeah, I think he's just been overpriced since that, honestly. So I would be shocked if his calendar year stats are. I would imagine he's down money.
Like you also have to be playing well. Like I don't think he can replicate that, that easily. Like there's a less than a 20% chance that he can replicate that kind of level of success this year. U.S. Open semis leading to
that's going to be hard to replicate.
That's going to be really hard. Then the Shanghai
Shanghai
semis, Tokyo title. Like that's a fantastic run.
Well, and that might be the answer actually as to the price, because I'm looking like, people love to use ELO, right, as a way to rank players. I'm trying to look at Shelton's ELO.
I feel like
I would think that would still be rather high.
Like Bublik's peak ELO probably is really high.
Well, I'm not saying peak ELO. I'm just saying ELO in general. Shelton's hard ELO is in the top 20. Bublik's only 5 or 6 spots, like only about 10 spots below him. So even that, and then that's hard ELO. So even that doesn't really explain it. I mean, their overall ELO is pretty similar.
Yeah, I feel like these guys would have a relatively average, average ELO, but their peak ELO is probably pretty high.
Well, no, because peak ELO you have to go on like a long streak, right? Like peak ELO is not your best match; it's your best streak. Like Shelton's peak ELO is not that high; it's only 1952. That's below most of the guys around him.
And what stretch was that peak elo? Like last year Shanghai?
No, 20 Madrid.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Piranha, do you use elo in any of your metrics?
No. I've played around with it. It's
Yeah.
too inaccurate. Yeah, I haven't really been able to come up with anything. So what you have to do, and I don't know how to do this, but ideally you need to create something where you're looking at common opponents and how they performed against common opponents, and then going out from that, like common opponents of those common opponents, and like so you've got this whole kind of tangled web that's updating all the time based on who everybody's playing. I don't know how to do that exactly, and
Mm-hmm.
it also probably would be more difficult than an Excel spreadsheet. I would imagine.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
a lot
the
of
number
work.
of calculations would get pretty high pretty quick.
Yeah.
Oh, it would. My computer would crash. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. I mean, you probably could do it in Excel, but you'd probably
Yeah.
have to wait like 10 hours for the results every day.
All right, let's continue with the matches for tomorrow. So we got Echeverry and Yari. Etch is a 1.5 game favorite, minus 165 on the money line. Yari's plus 135, over under is 23. This is tough. I mean, has Yari won a match since Rome?
No, no, and that's why he's priced where he is. That said, I mean, he's a better hardcourt than Etch, isn't he?
Yeah, you
Or,
know
like,
something that's interesting about Echeverry? I was gonna bring this up. Let me just pull it up. Echeverry is much better indoors. Let me just look because I've got indoor to
Yeah, I mean,
outdoor
he made
stats.
the Basel, semis?
yeah.
Yeah, he's let's see, 29 matches outdoors, you'd be down 3.3 units. I mean, it's only 7 matches indoors, I guess, so it's not a big sample, but you'd be up 6.5 units on him indoors. But he is significantly better, or at least on the money line he's been so far, better indoors. I don't know. That's not a big sample in the indoors.
That feels very likely to be variance. I mean, that's 4 of those matches, or 3 of those matches are Basel when he made the quarters and almost beat Rune. Yeah, I mean,
Jari is pretty balanced. He's up money indoors and outdoors. But
I
yeah,
think this is a good overmatch, honestly.
that's actually what I bet. That's the only thing I bet on this match. I took the over.
You over 23?
I think it was 23. Yeah, either that or 22 and a half. I think it was 23.
Okay.
Um, what is going on here?
Yeah,
Why is
that's what I think I'm gonna play here.
Yeah, so they're over unders for the last year. Echeverry 11 overs, 9 unders. Jari is 16 overs, 8 unders. This is hard courts. So Jari's gone over 2/3 of the time in the last year, and Etch 50, what is that? 55% of the time. So yeah, I played over. I mean, they're both obviously high hold. Well, Jari's 86% holds, Echeverry 81, and both guys are like 17% breaks. So
Yeah.
I mean, so that puts Jari's a better a hardcore, right, over the past 52 weeks or whatever, correct?
yes, yeah, that's not really even well. So Echeverry's at 99.5, but he's been a 2-game dog on average, which is really high. Jari's at 103 almost, but he's been a 0.8 game favorite. So Etch numbers are a little deceiving since he's been overall dog of 2 games, over 20 matches too.
But I think the form, I think, man, you called it. I think what's playing in here is Etch's form since Rome has been poor.
Both guys' form has been pretty bad, honestly.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know, like
Sports.
what?
I mean, I joke around that Yari's speech at the Rome final was his retirement speech.
Yeah. I mean, I think Yari's was quite a bit worse. Like Echeverry on grass, you're never getting anything out of Echeverry on grass regardless, right? So like that's
Right.
playing in. And then I mean, he beat Bodic and Vilch and lost to Struff and Saflin. That seems not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, still not to his standard. I mean, like he was looked at as being like a top 25 clay player like last year, you
I'm
know?
not saying it's at his standard, but I'm saying like
He's
it's better
regressed.
form than Yari recently.
Yeah, I hear. But I just don't want anything to do with picking a side here. I just think this is an over spot.
I like the over. That's what I bet. I actually thought this line would be flipped before it came out though. I don't know. I thought Jari
I
would
thought
be.
Yari would be a favorite too. I mean, as a dog, I'm really tempted to back Yari here is at this much of a dog because just he's like I know his form is terrible, but I mean he's just got a better game on hard courts than Echeverry. Like at least he's got a serve. Like other than that, like honestly, like what is the difference between these guys other than Yari having a better serve? I guess Etch's
Etch is a
forehand is
better
a little bit
forehand.
better.
Yeah. But not by much, honestly.
Yeah, like these guys have pretty similar styles.
They do.
Jari's wins losses this year. I only looked at calendar year, but he's beat Arnaldi, Draper, Seaboth, and Rude. His losses: Laheka, Kabolian 5, Erosion, and Medvedev.
Yeah, but
Yeah, he beat Draper on a hard court. I mean, granted,
but
Draper
the
vomited
form though,
four.
the recent form outweighs what he did there because it's just been so bad recently.
You mean on other surfaces, right? What? Because this is only calendar
Just in
year,
general,
so
I mean, he
it would
hasn't won a
just be
match in like
uh,
3 months. You
yeah.
know,
Right.
it's hard for me to back someone when he hasn't won anything in like 3 months.
I mean,
To be fair, that's only 3 matches he's lost. He just hasn't played it all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think it
that's part of
matters
it
a
too,
little
right?
bit.
Is like, I mean, that's another variable in this is like, since then, Yari only played Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the Olympics. Like, he's playing the minimum. Like, he hasn't played any warm up for any matches, which is also interesting. Like, what is that scheduling? Is he exhausted? Like, it's
Yeah, I
odd
think
scheduling. Was he hurt? Did he pull out of a tournament hurt? Can't remember.
did he lose to
Yeah, I
him?
don't remember.
He lost to Mute first round of Roland Garros, Shapo first round of Wimbledon, Popper in first round of Olympics.
Popper into yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like, how much does that? I mean, you could almost look at it though, like he's coming into this tournament, geared up to play. He's back on a hard court and rested, and I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to also like
Yeah,
translate these results from different surfaces. He might like Musetti's a good example. He was horrific on that, and he wouldn't stop playing hard court tournaments. And finally, he gets to clay, and he turned his season around. I don't know if it was the first match he did it, but he did it.
Yeah, Musetti, he's like, and I think the grass, like, he's not a great grass court player. He had a good grass court season, made the semis of Wimbledon, but like, I think the slice really stays low on the grass and it skids through the court. So I think his game, like the grass suits his game more than hard court. I feel like hard is Musetti's worst surface.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
just such
Also, a
different
big thing with
movement.
hard like versus grass and clay that people don't think about is like the movement, right?
Yeah.
Like on hard court you have to run, whereas on like grass and clay the movement's a little bit different.
Yeah,
It's a lot different. A lot different on grass. You
yeah,
can't
That's
really
true, yeah.
you can't really run.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. First match tomorrow of the day, Sonego against Griekspoor. Where's that one? Sonego is a 1.5 game underdog, plus 130 on the money line. Griekspoor minus 155, over under 23.5.
Is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow. That's the first match of the day tomorrow.
Oh shoot. I gotta move this. Okay.
I like the 3-set line at plus 135. I think that's a good play with Sonego in general. Sonego is very erratic, so I don't necessarily like overs, especially at 23.5. I think that's just too many holds that Sonego's gonna have to get to get there. And I would much rather have the 3-set line because you get the plus money. I don't necessarily want to back a side because I don't really trust Grigsport either, especially if he gets down a break at some point. Like you can pretty much kiss that set goodbye. That's my play. Plus 135. What about you?
I don't know, man. I mean, Grigsport is just way better than Sonego, isn't he? Like,
He is, but like that's the spot I want to back Greeks to Sonego. Like I like backing Sonego as a dog in some capacity. Like I don't think like maybe Grigsport 2-1 is not a bad play here at plus 280 either.
I can read off some numbers.
How often does Sonego go 3 sets?
oh,
That
very often.
I'd have to look. I'd have to count those. I don't have like a formula in there for that. It would be easy to find out though.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so last year on hard, Greek scored 32 matches. He's at 99 service return points, but he's been a .7 game dog. So that's about where you'd expect him to be. And then Sonego is 33 matches. He's at 98 service point return points, and he's been a .3 game favorite. So Sonego's been pretty bad, actually. He should be over 100, and he's at 98. Also, just betting wise, if you bet every match on Sonego in the last year, you'd be down 14.5 units and 5 units on the spread. Your Greek score, you'd be up 1 unit, 1.3 units money line, and you'd be down 1 unit on the spread. So Sonego has been terrible, awful to bet on in Greek Sport, but basically doing about what the market thinks he's going to do.
I don't know. I personally, I think that I'm tempted to take I'm tempted to just take the Greek Sport money line here. I know the price isn't great, minus 155, but I mean, he's I don't know, like Greek Sport's been playing in my mind pretty well this year in a lot of matches, like against, even against some pretty good competition. Even on clay, he's played okay. Sonego just hasn't shown me anything. What has Sonego done that shows you that, like, I guess he's lost some close 3-setters, but like, I don't know. Sonego hasn't shown us too much this year. Like, yeah. I agree with you, Manny. He like my question with Sonego is almost like, is Greek Sport good enough to draw out good Sonego? Or is like Greek Sport below the level of drawing out like the best of the erratic Sonego?
Right, yeah.
I'm passing myself. I looked at this for a little while.
I feel like Greek Sport is kind of erratic off the ground too. Like I feel like this is like a make 2 balls on the court kind of match. You know?
Yeah, but at least Greek Sport has a serve, and at least Greek Sport has a good attacking game.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Greek Sport fall off the wagon too. Like, but that's a good point. Like Greek Sport might not allow Sonego to find his purple patch. Because there's going to be no rhythm in this match. It's just going to be like grip and rip tennis.
But I hear you, man. I don't really. Greek Sport's return game is so poor. I don't really want to lay a game and a half.
No.
So I'll probably be. I mean, I don't love the price, but I'll probably end up on the Greek Sport money line. For me, it's really close.
I might play Greek Sport to lose the first set and win the match. +5, +6.
I don't know why. I don't know why he would specifically do that, like in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm passing myself. I do have Sonego as being pretty unlucky the last 12 months on hard. So I guess if I was forced, just because that model I have does pretty well, I would take Sonego. But
Okay.
I'm not. I'm
Uh,
passing on that.
I'm playing the 3 sets at plus 135.
I'll probably end up a pass. I don't really want to have a whole. I feel like there's this tournament. You don't really want to have a whole ton of money out there in round one, so I'll probably pass. I'm going to try to stick to plays that I really like the Bublik play, and I've got a few.
Seems about right. It's 60-40 is the line, so I don't know.
All right, Mickelson and Nishikori. That's tomorrow as well. Mickelson is a 4-game favorite, minus 310 on the money line. Nishikori plus 250, over under of 22.
I bet the spread on this. The one thing about this is Mickelson's going to serve first, or very likely to.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
and it's pretty big on those 4 spreads just because of the the
Yeah.
6-3 versus the
Oh no,
6-4.
four is like the time.
Yeah,
3.5 or not 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5 is when that serving first really matters.
yeah, it does. It matters a lot on 4. Um, all those numbers you just named. Also to the over under matters a lot. Like but just betting unders on people that serve first as a 4-game favorite has made money. Quite a
Yeah.
bit of money too. Those are at like 55%, I think. Um, yeah, I wanted Mickelson's stats were pretty crazy. So he look at his third set stats. Let me pull them up. He's lost so many third sets to pretty good players too. I'm just gonna pull up his hard stats for the last year. Okay,
Yeah, so
so
the odd, well, I guess you have to, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. If you're pulling only ATP level. Yeah, he's 4-13 last 52 weeks in deciders at ATP level.
yeah, so that's what I was looking at. Like, and some of them are to good players. I mean, he's kind of been on like the cusp of breaking through in one of these tournaments, and he can't do it.
Yeah, I
But he's
mean,
very, very close. I mean, he just lost to Greek Spore, third set, 6-4. He lost to Kabali in the third set tiebreaker. He
Paul
lost
on a third set tiebreak.
Yeah, Paul is a big one.
Jordan
Jordan
Thompson
Thompson.
in a 7-5 in the third. Yeah, I mean,
He crushed Demon in Los Cabos, which was crazy. Like, how did that happen?
that was a fatigue spot for Demon. I think Demon had come
from
off of winning
Acapulco.
maybe something crazy.
Yeah.
This is round of 16, so it's
Yeah,
a
Demon
little.
does that sometimes. I mean, he lost to someone in I think he lost to, who was it in Queens?
Oh, well, Musetti.
Musetti, that's right. Which I guess in
Okay.
hindsight isn't a horrible loss, but
Yeah, Demon had come off of winning or not when he come off of the final of Rotterdam, and that was the week before Cabos. So he played the final of Rotterdam Sunday. And if I remember right, I think that Cabos match was like a Tuesday. So he
yeah,
flew over and we had like a day to get ready for that, for that
right.
match against Mickelson.
Yeah, I guess
I
that
mean,
makes
to me,
more sense then.
it's more a fade on Nishikori, honestly, because like Nishikori lost 1-4 to Draper at the Olympics. Uh, couldn't even play Eastbourne. Had to retire against Shelton. Did he play Atlanta?
No, Nishikori's only played a couple matches this year. He's
Right.
basically just playing out his career with his protected ranks, I think.
Right.
Like he's played 5 matches all year. Miami, 2 at Roland Garros because he somehow beat Diallo, and then Wimbledon in the Olympics.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I'm probably gonna lay the 4, honestly. At minus 110.
Yeah, I have one completed match for Nishikori on hard,
Yeah.
and
that's correct. Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
service and return point were 90 in that match.
Yeah.
Mickelson,
Yeah.
Mickelson 28 matches. He's at 103.5 as a 1-game favorite. So
I mean, this is a tough one because 4 is a big spread,
it is with,
and we just have
yeah.
no idea. Like, I mean, unless you guys have a stronger opinion, I think it's really hard to make a determination as to what Nishikori is going to look like.
But if he's serving first, Mickelson, I think that's important.
That's what pushed me over the edge with it. I also have Mickelson as being like ridiculously unlucky, which makes sense with all those third set losses. But you know, maybe that's fatigue. I was going to ask you guys what you thought about that actually. Do you think that's fatigue that I mean, so he's lost all the guys we just named, Paul, Jordan Thompson, Greek Spore, Cavalli, those are all third set 7-5, 6-4 tiebreakers.
I don't think he's very fit. I mean, I think his biggest problem is he's not athletic and not very fit.
And it would make sense.
I mean, the thing is Nishikori's not that fit either. Like, and I think Michelson is fitter than Nishikori is at this point. But that's not like necessarily good on Michelson. That's just bad on Nishikori, right?
Yeah, the other thing is Michelson's a very odd player, right? Like, it's interesting. I'm trying to look at it now. Like, how many of those losses did he just come out and destroy the guy in the first set and then the other guy recovered, right? Like, I'm looking at that. I'm trying to see how many, like, so like he actually bageled Nuno Borges in the first set in Auckland, and then Nuno came back and beat him. He did the same thing to Jordan Thompson. Like I don't know if if there's something to it or not, but there might be something to him being like a tricky player because he's got kind of a weird style. The way he's able to like dig the ball out of the dirt, because he doesn't really like, again, to your point, he's not explosive. He doesn't hit big. He's more like funky.
But he also doesn't have, he can't like rely on defense to win points. So
and he doesn't really have multiple, like, he doesn't have a whole bunch of styles to play. So I'm looking in
a low margin game too.
Yeah. So in his 13 deciding set losses, I'm trying to look at how often he won the first set, because I think it's most of them. So I'm going to take the 11. I'm going to take out the next gen matches. Those are weird. So in the 11 matches that he's lost in the deciding set, he won the first set in 8 of them. Which I think is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it could be variance, but also there could be a fatigue angle there.
Or I think I don't know. I mean, I always say these guys, it's probably not this, but because I always say these guys on the ATP tour aren't that smart, but it could also be like a guys are able to figure him out. You know, it is interesting that it's kind of amazing that he's twice bageled a guy in the first set and lost the match.
Yeah, I agree with you. That could be part of it too, where they just don't know his game. I mean, obviously these guys haven't played him, and they probably don't have much tape on him. Yeah, I don't know how well they prepare for like these types of matches. That could be.
I don't even know how much it matters, right? Like, there's some legendary quotes about it with certain guys where like coaches have said like, I can go over the game plan with my guy for an hour before the match. He can nod and be like, yup, yup, yup. And then once the match starts, the game plan that gets executed is not the same game plan. Right? Because it's such a reactive sport. Like, once the ball gets hit, how long do you have? Like half a second to react?
Well, and you're also going against a guy that's adjusting against you. So it's not like he's some fixed person that's automatically doing this. Like he's trying to do the same thing to you. So.
And you got to then interpret like what he's doing to you, right? Like, right. I mean, look, you hear about all these guys quotes with the balls, right? These guys can't agree on like, on what the balls do or how fast the courts are. Like how are they going to figure out exactly how to react to like what player X is doing, or even like get a good opinion of what player X is doing?
Yeah, I think you can just kind of. I don't know. I'm not a tennis guy. I'd imagine it's kind of more, these are his tendencies, and it's a percentage thing like everything else. He likes to do this in this situation.
And I think maybe with like, my opinion's always been like with something like serve positioning, like the serve and the return, you probably can do those types of things. But once the rally starts, I mean, man, you and I play enough tennis. It's a pretty reactive game.
It
Yeah.
is. It
Like
is.
outside of strategies like hit the ball to the backhand, like it's really hard. Like it's amazing how many times I've played a match and somebody's been watching like the match and gone after the match, like, oh, you should have done like you should have hit more like low balls or like should have hit more like more loopy
Really
balls
hard
or
to
should have
yeah.
had this court positioning or should have cut off the court like this. And I'm like,
A lot of times if you hit an aggressive ball, like I'm just happy if I got to it and hit it in a like relatively deep ball in the court, right? I'm like happy if I did that, Like
yeah,
it's a hard sport. It's not easy to hit balls in tight windows consistently. It's just not
yeah.
easy.
Yeah. It's interesting I know you guys have probably seen tennis insights that I guess only the players and the coaches have access to, but they have it in match apparently. So I would be curious to know how often they're using it. Are they actually going up to a guy after the first set and saying, "Oh, he's serving down the tee 70% of the time" or something? I don't know.
Well, and like that would be the one thing you probably could react to, right? Is like, okay, he's serving down the tee 70% of the time. Like that I could see somebody saying and then somebody actually
Yeah.
executing and reacting, right? Because that's like you have 10 seconds to think about it. Okay, make sure I stand here.
Yeah, or
But
lean
like,
that way.
try to hit more low balls during the rally. Like, okay, well, hit more low balls off of what balls? Right? Because like not every ball it makes sense to hit a low ball off of, like, and then I've got to think of that every half second during the point. Well, if I'm thinking of that, like, then what am I not thinking about? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the next match. Nuno Borges and Kecmanovic. Yeah, exactly.
I'm laughing because, like, if anybody wants to, do I even need to see a line here? Like, this is a pass almost no matter what the line is. Oh man. Borges is plus 130. That's
I know.
playable.
It is almost playable. That's why we're going over the
Because, like, I mean, Kecmanovic, man, I think I texted you the stats. Like, it's so, Tony, and it could just be variance, but Kecmanovic's record versus like 20 to 50, 50 to 100, and then 100 or higher ranking are like almost the same.
I mean, I'm only backing Kecmanovic against the JJ Wolfs of the world, like, or the Dominic Teams of the world at this point. I'm not backing him against nearly anyone else, especially as a favorite.
I have to run to the bathroom. I was just you guys are laughing, but this was a pass for me too. So, but I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the problem is, like, so when this line opened, I think I saw it last night at a minus 130 plus 110, and I was like, yeah, I can pass this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's
now
Borges.
I'm like,
It's Borges.
I think it's still the pass, but what?
It still is a pass. I'm leaning actually under 22.5. I feel like that's a decent line. But I feel like that's going to be a massive sweat because it could go 3 sets. 3-set line plus 130. Yeah, it's just a pure pass. Forget it. Piranha's passing there too, so let's move on. Diallo and Kachanov. I was staring at this line for quite some time today. I really want to back Kachanov in some capacity, but then I was looking at how bad he has been, and I was like, oh, maybe this line is accurate. And then Diallo won a challenger recently, but then played terribly against Fonseca. But then at the same time, Fonseca actually played had a fantastic week in Lexington.
Yeah.
I hammered the minus 2.5 against Lee 2, and that came through easily. Yeah, he had some good wins. He beat Fonseca there. He beat Kruger, Fernley, and Boo Yanchikoti.
Yeah, but those are all good challenger wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not on this, but yeah, I'm gonna pass, I think. I mean, I was actually like, yeah, I mean, I kind of wanted to play Diallo. I had written down that if Diallo was a 4-game spread or higher, it might be playable, but it's 2.5. So yeah, I'm not on this.
On this.
I'm gonna pass.
See what Tony has on it.
Yeah, if Tony gets back.
Yeah. I'm leaning the Kachanov -2.5. Like, I just feel like he's just a better player. Like, if Kachanov wasn't struggling, right? And like he was just kind of like playing top 20 standard Kachanov tennis, like this line is probably like what, 4.5?
Yeah, but he just lost to Sean Hong 2-4. Now, granted, it's a surface transition, so maybe that's why, but man, that's not good.
No, it's not good.
Kachanov's 1-4 in his last 5.
Yeah, it's not
And
good.
that's all grass, which is not his best surface, but yeah, it's for me, it's a tight pass. Like it's a pass, it's a tight pass. Like it's close. Like if this gets down to like 2 by some chance,
Yeah.
then I would probably get a lot more excited in Kachanov, but at 2.5, I'll probably stay away.
Yeah.
Because I agree with you, man. He's just a better tennis player, but
Right. Right. I don't know how much the home court matters here too.
yeah.
What else is tomorrow? Marajan and Karina Busta.
Um, I mean, pass.
I
Marjan hasn't
passed.
been exactly hot lately. Busta is, I mean,
Defending
completely.
champion in Montreal.
That's nice, but I think when's the last time he played? When he lost to uh Baena on grass in Mallorca? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, I watched that
Yeah.
match. It was a terrible match. I
Yeah.
bet Baena money line and somehow he won, but yeah.
I did too.
It was like -130. It was like a reasonable bet.
Yeah, I
Or it
know.
might have been pick, which tells you how
I
bad
think it was
Baena is at
pick, yeah.
grass. But yeah.
Tony,
Uh,
you have anything in Kachanov and Diallo?
Kashanov. No, I'm still recovering from betting Hashanov money line the last match. I think it was like -300 or something, maybe more than that.
Against Hong,
Yes, that one. Yep.
against yeah, my cousin.
Good Lord. How did
Yeah.
that one, like, what, like, does anybody know what happened that match? How did that even happen?
I have no
Seriously.
idea, but it's a very outlier result.
The thing with Hong is that like he's just a road runner. He'll just like stay 20 feet behind the baseline, just run a ton of balls down. So if you're missing, you might lose to him. I watched a match with him. He played Zizou Bergs in Davis Cup in Korea. And like
I remember that match. I bet on Bergs. And I
me,
lost a fair amount of
me
money on that.
too.
I was not happy. It was like a multi-unit bet on Bergs. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
I mean, Bergs has boatload more talent, but like Hong was just running around like a maniac, just like slicing every ball deep, and like Bergs had no idea what to do with it, you know? So if you're struggling with your game, like Hong is not a guy you want to play, you know? But yeah, I mean, still terrible loss.
Yeah. I mean, Hashino should, if it weren't for that last match, I think he'd be a lot higher than -200, right? Like,
Exactly. Yeah. If he was playing standard Kachanov level tennis, like, top 20 tennis, he'd be a 4.5, 5 game favorite there.
he was -443, by the way. That was the one I bet.
Oh,
So yeah,
ouch. And it wasn't
Hashimov.
it wasn't 3 sets, it was 2 and 4 or something.
No, I mean it was just a total outlier. Yeah, it's very well. Like Hashinov's numbers are not. I mean, he's got 35 matches in the last year on hard. He's at 103 service return points as a 2 game
Yeah.
favorite. So I
Yeah.
mean, you'd think he should be like -400 in this match, but I don't know. I'm still Got
Yeah, I mean, and Kachon's usually
PTSD.
not very good on grass, but he had a poor grass season also. He lost. He won one match on the grass season. Beat Karatsev by retirement, and the other matches were all losses.
Yeah.
So
Marjan and Karina Busta. I'm a pass here. I don't like backing Marjan as like a 4-game favorite. It just doesn't seem right.
if Marjan had a little better form, I might be interested. But yeah.
Yeah. I'd lean the under actually in a way, but like I don't know.
No, the under could be a good look. Well,
Yeah.
probably not. Because the problem is if Marjan plays a terrible set, right? Which he's
Exactly,
very
which is
capable
very
of doing.
possible. Yeah, exactly. It's the match is completely on Marjan's bracket. It's just I don't trust him to like maintain a high level for 2 sets. Tony, you have anything there?
On Marjan Busta? No,
Yeah.
I pass. I mean, I feel like Marjan should be a lot higher. I mean, I don't Busta. His challenger results since he came back weren't anything good, right? Like, there's no reason I
Not
don't see
really.
any
The
way he
last
wins
match he
this
played was
match.
in Mallorca.
Yeah, I mean, Fabian's got pretty good hard court stats.
I mean, he did look. I mean, Busta, he did. It was on clay, but he did take the first set from Navoni. That's the one thing he's done that's been good. Other than that, his challenger results have not been good. But he did take the first set from Navoni at the French.
I mean, Fabian last year he's played 31 matches on hard. He's at 101.6 as a .7 game dog. I mean, he was probably like underrated in some of those matches. Like the market didn't have him high enough, but he's got good hard court stats.
Yeah, but it's a surface transition as well for him, right?
Yeah,
Which makes it
it's just too much unknown. I mean,
It's
I
a
like
really unknown
so
match.
volatile as it is, right? Like he has such a low margin game.
maybe like Fabian 2-0 line might be something. I don't know what that is, but yeah, I would assume he's gonna either Boost is gonna be much better than I expect, or Fabian's gonna beat him 2-0.
Right.
Or Fabian's just gonna make a bunch of errors and give Boost a set just
I don't
because.
know.
I know.
Yeah, I didn't bet
Very
it.
possible too.
I feel like Marosian should be a lot higher. I mean, to come off like elbow surgery and then not really have played, like I don't see how he wins here.
Yeah.
And Busta had to withdraw from the Olympics. He didn't play Wimbledon, which he would have been able to with a protected rank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
it's
Seems like
And
a mess to bet that
I
match.
used to play pool very seriously. Like we would joke, like the great equalizer. You could take the best player and you tell him not to, he can't touch a pool stick for a month, and then play that guy and see how well he plays. Like it's all about repetition and practice. So if you haven't played or you've played very little, you're just to like expect a different result in this type of match. I don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean,
All
he's
right.
got to get mad.
This match, this is a very interesting match. Holger Rune
Yeah.
and Milos Raonic. I think this is one of the more interesting matches to cap. I have a couple plays here. I love the Raonic +2 games at -105. I think those 2 games are valuable just because of how well Raonic serves. I don't necessarily like the money line just because I was hoping for like +200 A, and B, I like don't know if he can like last 2 sets physically. I prefer the first set money line if you're going to play that, but my favorite play in this match is playing the Raonic 7-6 at +460.
Yeah, a couple things. Well, one thing for two things I would just add quickly. Ronich gonna serve first. I don't think that matters a ton on a 2 spread, especially with the tie breaks, because if it goes to a tie break, now it's actually Rune serving first, second. But the other thing is I would not bet Milos money line. Like I think it's spread or pass if you're playing him. I mean, you don't want him to get down a set and retire, right?
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna take the 2.
The thing is like Rune is liable to pull a retirement also. I mean,
That's true.
Has he retired?
what
Did he retire recently?
he retired. I remember he at least twice. No, he retired
Did
against
he?
Korch down 2 breaks in the second. I think he did it in the past month.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, twice in a year to retire to do that is a
He
lot.
did it in Hamburg against Arthur Feast.
Right, yeah.
Remember?
And twice in a year for retirements is a lot. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's down 2 breaks in the second set, like you can't play 2 games and just like lose with some dignity.
Well, I feel like there's more potential for Milos to retire up a set than there is Holger to retire up a set. Right? I'm thinking because
You
most
got
of
to
the books
shorten
I
the
have,
finish line in this match. Like, I really like playing some kind of first set line here. Like, I think the over 10.5 is a good look in the first set. I like the Raonic first set money line. I like the Raonic 7-6. I like all that kind of stuff.
yeah, I don't like Rune here at all. I pass this, but there's no like Rune hard courts last year, 33 matches. He's been a 2-game favorite. He's at 99.8. So he's way underperforming.
the
Uh
only thing I would say against that, Tony,
yeah,
is that calendar year or is that 52 weeks?
it's 52 weeks from
'Cause
right now.
right, because he
Yeah.
played hurt throughout a good portion of last summer and was just like horridly bad.
Yeah.
Like I think
Has
he
he
lost to Baena on a hard court. I mean, he retired down a set in a break against Mackey. So some of that is that. So I don't know if Rune is as bad as those stats indicate. Um, that said, like I actually go the other way. I think Raonic is actually a pretty good player still, man. Like he just can't he can't necessarily play multiple matches in a row. He can't but for like the first round of a match at home, like he's played some pretty good matches this year.
Yeah, I've got 7 matches on him last year. He's at 104, and that's as a .9 game favorite. So he's way outperformed in those 7 matches.
And I mean, like it was on grass, but like he beat Jordan Thompson 3 and 4, and like I think he won like some absurd number of service points.
That's on
Like,
grass.
he might win like 80+% of points on serve. Like I mean, Raonic, like he can still play.
He beat Sinner set on hard. One of the matches he retired. He retired
Yeah,
at
that's from Rotterdam.
he retired at 1-1. That's kind of what I was
Because his
getting at
serve
with
is
He
so
was 7-6-1-1. Yeah, he took center. He had a set point against. He had a set point, and he actually should have won the set. He had like an easy forehand to win the set.
his serve is so absurd. That's the thing. Like I think it's still one of the like top 3 serves in the game.
yeah.
It's so
Wait, didn't
ridiculous how great the serve is.
he beat Sinner set, didn't he? Did I read it wrong?
No, I mean, he lost
Thought-
7-6
Oh,
in
yeah.
Rotterdam. The Rotterdam
Oh,
set he
okay.
lost in a tiebreak, but he had set point. He very easily could have won the set.
Okay, I read it wrong, but yeah, I might end up playing Milos here. Just looking at these stats. Yeah, I don't. What's the line at right now?
It's at
Was it-
2. Money line is +160. Set 1, I think, is +130.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might just take the 2 games, or kind of.
I love the 2 games. Like that's GBM worthy in my eyes, Brad.
I prefer the set 1 personally.
Set 1's not bad either. I'm
Good.
just afraid of that retirement if I took the money line. Like I think the money line is a great price. It's just I don't want him to retire.
Yeah, I think I agree. There's also like the threat of him. There's also the threat, like, yeah, I guess it's the same saying the same thing, but there's always a threat he like injures his back or something, in 3 sets. Like that's a long like if Milos has to play a 3rd set, that's probably not good for him.
He's got to be pretty motivated, right? He's in Canada. I would imagine it
And
means.
this is probably his last home event because right now he's ranked 180th in the world. he's out of protected ranks. Like is this
Hmm?
I'm trying to look up, like, is this, I don't think he's announced any retirement, but like, I don't know. It feels like this could be his last professional match. Because is he really right now he's ranked 180th in the world. Is he really gonna go grind challengers
No,
after being like a Wimbledon finalist? Like, does he really want to do that?
Some of these players, they just can't drop it, you know, like they've trained and done this their entire life. Like they can't, you know.
I'd be surprised if it, especially just with his
I mean, I'm surprised that
injuries.
Benoit Paire is still grinding it,
Yeah,
you know, like
these really tall guys with like injuries, though, I can't imagine that they're gonna want to go through
Well,
the grind.
that's the issue that I see. Like Benoit Paire, like if he could get better at tennis, like like he might be able to make it back. Like Raonic, it's not a matter of like can he play tennis and like can he play good enough
yeah,
tennis to
can he
make it back?
last 2 rounds?
It's because it's can he play more than once every month?
Right, right. But this is his first match in a month, so I mean, I'm gonna back him here.
Oh no, this is all reason to back him.
Yeah,
Like these are all reasons to back him in this
right.
match. Like
And I wouldn't back him in the
and
next
long
match.
layoffs don't matter for Raonic.
Yeah,
Like
because
long layoffs because again, because his game is so serve based. Like I mean, MP9 always jokes about it. All he has to do is like go to the local Y and like smack. Like, he doesn't have to go like to a tennis court. Just like find some open like space with air and like smack some serves.
yeah.
And he's like ready to go play. Like,
Yeah, Brad, we can make set one if you GBM if you want.
cool.
Yeah,
Is while we're at it, is Bublik GBM or not?
no, Bublik is never GBM. It's a like betting 101.
Okay.
No.
And this I would have made him GBM because I think the price is so out there, but okay. It's fine.
That's my
Nah.
favorite play of the day. I mean, he obviously could lose, but that price is crazy.
Our GBM plays shouldn't be like I mean, we made that mistake with the Monterino play last week. Like they shouldn't just be price plays. Like they should be plays that we like actually think.
Oh, I don't know. I think they can be probably like price plays can still be highly profitable.
Okay. Yeah. Nah, Bublik is he's a league on its own. Like if I was teaching tennis betting 101 like at a college, like the first thing I would say or the first lesson in the textbook would be do not bet Bublik first round. With multiple units. Like that would be the first bullet point.
I think he's better than you think. I mean,
No,
I don't know. I'd have to look. He's 14-7 on hard court. So if I'm remembering right,
I'm just
so
saying,
he has to be pretty good in the first round, right? Because he's 14.
It's the first round though. That's a point. Like if he gets later in the tournament where the money increases, then I feel like his motivation increases as well. You just don't know what you're
He
gonna
might
get.
be right. I don't know.
You just don't know what you're gonna get.
He's had some really bad first round losses in I mean, even in the past year.
Exactly.
Is there a way to just set it to round? Yeah, you can just.
There is. Yeah, you can actually look. Tennis Abstract will let you look at a player's first round matches or first. Actually, they'll even do you one better. They'll let you look at a player's first match in an event, which is really what you're looking at here. Because Google don't get buys.
He's 6-4 with losses. This is the last 52. 6-4 on hard first round. Losses to Tommy Ball, Demon Or. Actually, I don't know if this is first round. It's round of 32, so it may not. It's probably not. No, it's not.
So Tennis Abstract actually gives you first match.
Oh,
so
I
first
see
match
it.
last 52. He's 8-8.
He's 8.
But he has losses to.
I see it.
Yeah, but he does have a loss in there to Fognini. He has a loss to Sumit.
Giron.
Giron's okay. The one I would go after is losing to Fognini. That shouldn't happen. And then getting straight setted by Sumit at Australian Open in a best of 5 shouldn't happen either.
So I think you're right then, Manny. I mean, if he's well, that was just for the year he is for. But if he's 8-8 first round for the last, that's what the last year. No, that's the last year. Yeah.
Well, what is he in second rounds?
Well, overall, I think he was 14-7, right? Or no,
Well, he's
31
5-3 in second matches of tournament, in second matches on hard courts, and he's 4-1 in his third match.
Exactly. So his motivation and his I think his well-being, his mental well-being goes up as the money goes up, as the
Yeah,
the amount of money that he wins goes up,
his
I
his
feel like
goof.
if he loses the first set, he's like, whatever, I'll just take the first round prize money and hope for a better result next week.
I think it all just depends on his mood too, right? Like he's just I mean, yeah, he's just moody. Like I
Exactly.
agree with you, Manny. I think I'm kind of backing up a little bit on it, but some like because he's also won a few first round matches where he like lost the first set and hung in there with like
True.
some pretty like in some like not that easy situations. So like it just depends on what he feels like doing. He's impossible to predict.
Don't get me wrong. I'm betting the match and like I like the price. I just don't think it's GBM worthy. Like it's a one unit play or 1.5 unit play, but not 2 units. So last match of the day tomorrow is Tiafoe against Tabilo. Where is it? Right here. Tiafoe's a 2-game favorite, minus 170 on the money line, over under of 23. Tabilo's plus 140. So I'm gonna play the over dog combo here. That's gonna be my play here. I think Tabilo is actually underrated on like quickish courts. I know this is not quick. It's pretty average, but I think Tabilo is gonna be fine here. Like I think he's pretty much an all quarter at this point. Tiafoe's return stats are not that great, right?
For me, this is even more basic. Like I'm all over Tabilo money line here. I love this.
Okay.
Like make the case that TFO should be a favorite at all. Like what does that case even look like?
I think they're baking in the quarterfinal run in Washington and the 5 sets against Alcaraz. Like
But see,
that's
that
what they're
quarterfinal run in
baking.
Washington is dumb because like
That is.
he won 2 matches and he lost the first round in Atlanta to Yoshi.
And then he won 3 sets with Golan and Kovacevic. Like that doesn't.
Yeah, like it really like he beat Rublev. That's what that run was. He beat Rublev.
Right.
And a struggling Rublev.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's 4-2. He's 4-2 on this hard court in the two between Atlanta and Washington. He did win his first round. He beat Karatsev in 3 sets.
And this is also not America. This is Canada, right? So the crowd, they could care less about this match.
Yeah, they'll probably still back him. I gotta think there'd be some Americans that would go, but yeah, he won't get the backing he did in Washington. That's for sure. Like Washington's like close to his like he grew up in Baltimore, right? So Washington's like his hometown.
Yeah, last 52 weeks, Tiafoe's breaking at an 18.9% clip, which is pretty.
Well, I would look more at like because he was still playing okay back
this
during
year
last summer swing, right? It was really U.S. Open he fell apart.
Well, last 3 months he's at 15% breaking.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's bad.
I can make a case for Tiafoe even though I'm with you guys. This is my second favorite play, maybe my favorite now that I'm thinking more about it. But I already played Tabio. I don't get this either. Like I think Tabio should be favored. But I will say from watching Tiafoe against Korda, that's the best I've seen him play. He lost the match, but Korda played lights out, and Tiafoe hung in there. He just looks much more energized. He's serving better. He's coming to the net. I mean, he just looks like a different player to me than he did a year ago. That would be the case I would make for him. I don't think should even be favored though. Like, there's nothing. Tabio's hard court stats. It's only 12 matches. He's at 102.5 service and return. That's as a 1-game dog. Tiafoe is 31 matches. He's at 100, and he's been a 1.7 game favorite. Now, I do think he's playing better, so maybe this is closer to a pick. I just don't see any reason Tiafoe should be a favorite here like that. What is he?
Tabilo has lost
170 is crazy.
He has lost his last 3 matches, so
Who did he lose to?
Fritz at Wimbledon, which I guess there's not much shame in that. Berrettini
No shame in Berrettini at Kitzbühel in 2 tiebreaks.
and then Roman in at the Olympics, where actually it's not too much shame in that because I saw part of that match. Roman redlined and played really, really.
Yeah, I guess an interesting question would be like, I don't know, man. I guess Tabilo's okay under pressure, not terrible.
He's average mentally. Like we
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like is
I'm
two
not
I
gonna,
games
think
is hardly anything though. Plus 140 is a pretty good price.
I'm
Instead
not
of
gonna say
2 games.
he's bad mentally because he did win 2 titles, right, on different surfaces this year. So like,
True. That's true.
like
Ironically, not on clay.
I know, but he
that-
did. Well, he won a challenger in Aix-en-Provence. I mean that's
something
challenger 175.
might be interesting is Tabio, almost all his hard court matches have been on medium pace courts. 25 out of 31. He's up 11 units on medium pace courts.
Yeah, Auckland title.
Yeah, so I mean, he hasn't really played on slow. He's got 2 matches on slow and 6 on fast. These are by my I kind of try to take the outliers, so they're like really slow or really fast. So most are going to be medium, but
He's an all quarter though.
yeah, he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's just a really good tennis player, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I guess the case, if you're going to make the case for TFO, it would be that he did beat him head to head last year at Indian Wells. I don't think it's very relevant because TFO was a completely different player last year, but he did beat him head to head last year at Indian Wells. And then the second piece would be that Tiafoe. I mean, I guess somehow his hardcore elo is still slightly ahead of Tabilo, but that's based on 12 months ago. I mean,
Well, he's
there's really
also
not
played.
much outside of that head to head.
He's played 6 matches on hard too, so that would be the other kind of edge to Tiafo, I would say.
Well,
true. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I mean that would be the edge. Yeah, the edge for you're right. That's the real edge for Tiafoe is that he's now been here for 3 weeks, been playing on the hard courts, whereas Tabilo's coming from the Olympics.
But that's why I also like the over 23. Like Tiafoe was going over versus the likes of Galan and Kovacevic.
I think this is a pick 'em to me. Like either to be a small favorite or a pick. Like I don't see how
that's where I had it, Piranha. That's where I had it. I had it. I agree with you.
So
but I think it won as like a real dog. I mean, I'm on Tabilo here as a real dog.
Brad, is this GBM worthy?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So our 2 GBM plays will be the Tabilo money line and the Raonic set 1 money line.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Nice. 2 night matches tomorrow, so that's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I apologize for agreeing with you guys on those. You're not gonna you're not gonna like the results. Actually, I think we did pretty well past episodes on the ones we agreed on.
I mean, I think the squad rides did pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Just place those.
Wait, is Bublik Shelton tomorrow, or is that
That's Tuesday. That's
okay.
Tuesday.
All
Yeah.
right, good. I got that one right. I think I just missed 1 match for tomorrow.
So as far as I mean, there are some qualifying matches too, which I actually like. Like tomorrow in qualies, I like Daniel versus Kazo at plus 130. I'm all over that. I just think Kazo is too erratic for Daniel. Like I think Daniel is that's a good matchup for him because he's just gonna make a lot of balls and force Kazo to miss. And Kazo was an absolute mess last week against who did he play?
Yeah, he had some crazy loss, didn't he?
Oh, it was atrocious. Oh, Van Ash, she lost 4-3. So like I think like Daniel is a similar type of player to Van Ash, just a slightly better version. Right? Would you agree with me, Brad?
Right now, yeah, I think Van Ash was better 4 or 5 months ago. I don't know. Like on a hard court, Van Ash might actually be okay. Like Van Ash is like he's been playing poorly the past 4 to 5 months, but they've also been on playing grass. I think he might be more of like a pure hard quarter.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I agree that they're similar styles.
yeah.
I
So
just think
I
actually
think
Van Ash might be a little
that's
better.
not a good matchup for Kazo. So I'm all over Daniel there. I like Mensik against Koric tomorrow as well in qualies. And yeah, those matches haven't started yet, so I like those two. You have
I
any
think I'm
qualies?
opposite you.
What about Kokkinakis versus RBA? Any play there?
I'm on the over there, over 22.5.
Okay.
I think I played Corage. I don't really bet qualies. I just have Mensek as being really lucky last 12 months. And then also just their first quali match, Corch did a little bit better than Mensek.
Yeah, but that's Draxel though. Like
Oh,
Draxel.
wait a minute. Let me take a look. I might be looking at I'm sorry. I think I'm looking at the wrong thing. No, yeah, actually, yeah, I do have Corch. Is doing a little bit better. But yeah, he didn't play anybody good.
I mean, Mensik didn't play anyone good either, to be honest.
Yeah, I just like kind of relative to expectation, I had Corch doing a little bit better. Um, yeah, I don't really bet qualities. Plus the vig is higher, but I did bet that. I bet Korich and then Nakashima, which is suspended.
Okay. Let's talk about Nori and Giron on Tuesday. Nori's a 1.5 game favorite, minus 150 on the money line. Giron plus 125, over under of 22.5. I really like Giron here, plus 125. I think this should be a pretty close to a pick 'em, honestly. Piranha, on your bet stamp, I saw you played Giron already, right?
Yeah, I think I did. I'm trying to remember because I didn't put any notes down for this. Let me just pull it up. Yeah, let me just look at the stats. So Garone, 37 matches on hard. He has been dead even in terms of the spread in those, and he's at 102.3, so really good. Nori, almost dead even too in terms of the spread, and he's at 99.9. So Jerome with the much better stats relative to the people he's played. Neither guy has played in the last 3 months, it looks like. Why did I bet Jerome? I mean, that alone is pretty good. So, but yeah, I like Jerome here.
I mean, also Jerome plays better in indoor hard, I feel. Like he had a great run in Dallas. And we talked at the beginning of our preview in Montreal that like it's gonna be pretty dull with the winds. Like it's not gonna be windy at all. So I think these are good conditions for Giron.
Yeah, so Garone, 56 matches outdoors, he's down 1.6 units, and indoors, 27 matches, he's up 7 units.
He's
So
way
yeah,
better
he's
indoors, but it's the fact that we're
significantly
getting
better.
still conditions. Like I think if it was windy and like swirly, I think Nori would have the advantage. But the fact that it's going to be pretty calm, I think that helps Giron.
Yeah,
I think
I
Giron's just a
actually
better hardcore player than Nori at this point, man.
I have Garone's best speed as being medium and Nori's worst as being medium, which is a little odd. There's kind of sample size issues with this, but Jerome has 62 matches on medium. This is like last 3 years, I think, and he's up 6 units. Nori has 41 matches on medium paced, and he's down 23 units.
Does Delray Beach play pretty
Very
medium?
slow.
Slow.
Delray is slow. Yeah.
What about Dallas?
Dallas. look. That was a weird one. It's fast, but
Fast.
well, so 2022 really fast. This year was like I'm just going by aces really, which I should incorporate like first serve percentage and stuff. I just haven't had time, but I had 2022 aces, 22% over, 21% over, and then this year about 7% over. So it's medium to fast.
Okay. Oh.
Delray's very slow, I think, though. Yeah, Delray's kind of the opposite of what I just read. Down 22% in 2023, and then this year down about 6%. I think it's very windy in Delray too, so it kind of might depend on the wind in terms of the aces. But I think Delray is pretty slow.
No, Delray is generally known for being on the slower
Yeah,
end. And also, that might be partially because it's windy.
yeah,
Like it's right on the beach, so it's very windy, so it's got to be harder to hit like as big, right? Like whether it be serves or otherwise.
yep. Yeah, I mean, it's probably hard to get your feet in front of your
Yeah, he was just in good form
chasing
those
down a
couple weeks.
ball.
Brad, you on
Yeah,
anything?
I'm on your own.
Okay. All right.
I do. The only other thing I'd add for Nori, he's actually 25 matches on slow hard courts. He's up 12 units. So it looks like he's substantially better on slow. You never know. I'd have to look. There's a lot of variant. I did cut off, like I don't have minus 5,000 matches in there. I think I cut it off at like 600 or 700 because you don't want like one match to skew everything like Alcaraz erosion. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It appears he's much better on slow than medium or fast.
Okay. All right. So another squad ride with Giron money line.
Yeah.
That could be
Yep.
GG too. The Felix Kaboli line is kind of up. FA is minus 240. Kaboli's nearing plus 200. This just seems like a stay away.
Seems a little high for Felix. Not sold on
That
that.
does, but yeah, I
Does.
mean, I might have to take a shot on Caboli at plus 200 there. Like, I know there's the fatigue angle, but I mean, there's angles both ways there.
Yeah, there's a fatigue angle on Kaboli as well. Right?
Well, there's a fatigue angle on Caboli, and
Yeah, FA as well.
I think there's a little bit of a mental fatigue angle on FAA. Like he's coming off
Yeah.
of like how does he feel about a fourth place finish at the Olympics? Is that good, bad?
I
I
think
don't
he's
know.
just happy he won a medal with the doubles. Like I don't think he's gonna.
Oh yeah, true. There's the doubles medal too. How does that make him feel? And like he played singles and doubles. Is that an issue?
But like with Felix, I think it's more. Oh, he's there for his country. Like I'm just happy I medaled. Like he's not necessarily dwelling on the singles failure. Like for him making fourth place is actually a success for him.
Is it though? Like it is. But is it in the moment when you made it to the semis and you end up being the only guy who made the semis and isn't on the podium?
Mm.
Felix to me is getting to be one of those guys. He's just erratic. Like you can see it even with the double. Like he'll have 18 double faults in a match, and then the next match he'll be totally normal and have two or three.
I'm telling
I
you,
don't.
Felix knows when you're watching.
I mean, he plays so bad when I watch him, but I did catch him all of a sudden play extremely well against Musetti. I have seen him play extremely well, but he's erratic. I mean, that's why I like. How can he be this big of a favorite when you're that erratic against Cabali?
Oh, it's also in his hometown,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
He's gonna have some adrenaline. It's probably gonna be a night match. Like I don't know. I think this is a stay away in my eyes.
Bali's hard stats are pretty well. Just betting stats, he's up 15 units over 31 matches on hard in the last year.
Hmm.
Felix, unsurprisingly, down 5.5 units over 32 matches. I would have thought worse than that. Cabali's up 6 units if you bet the spread every match. Felix, you'd be down 3 if you bet the spread every match. Both about 30 match samples. I don't know. I don't.
Maybe Caboli plus the games might be a good look. I mean,
Yeah, Felix gonna serve first. What's the game spread?
it's not up
I think
yet.
it's 3.5, right, Manny?
It's not up
Three and a
yet.
half. 3 or 3.5, you said. That would make sense.
That line, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably with minus 200, probably somewhere in there.
What's
Or minus
Caboli to
250.
win a set? Minus 150 is juiced.
So it'll probably end up being 3. Usually a minus 150 correlates to like a 3-game spread.
Yeah.
I get the line though. The line's not ridiculous. Like Felix should be a favorite. I would say. Is it 3 or is it more like a 2?
Yeah. All right, Thompson against Draper. Thompson's a 3.5 game dog, plus 220 on the money line. Draper minus 275, over under 22. How does Draper do in first rounds? What do the numbers say here, Piranha?
yeah, I'm pulling it up. I didn't look at this one, but
Draper's 18-6 in first rounds last 52 weeks, so pretty good, pretty solid. You'd expect that. I mean, he's there's no fatigue, right? Like
yeah, Thompson 41 matches on hard over the last year. Really good numbers. He's at 103.3 as a half game favorite. Draper is excellent numbers too. 25 matches, he's at 107 as a 2.8 game fave. So nothing really that I would take just looking at that. Both guys are pretty far over what they should be at.
Don't you think Thompson is a bit long here, plus 220?
Yeah, these guys have like, well, so money line stats. I'd have to look at this, but Draper, you'd only be up 0.8 units over 25. Just Thompson, you'd be up 14 units over 41. Yeah, there's probably an outlier there because if you bet every Draper spread, you'd be up 6 units, and you'd be up 8.5 with Thompson. That's 6 units over 25 matches. So that's actually he's actually a higher average than Thompson against the spread. Thompson is 8.4 over 40. Both guys are outperforming, and I don't know.
it is interesting. Thompson is against the top 20, which Draper's probably a top 20 player on hardcore. Especially given how well you just said he's performing. Thompson's 3-6, serve points 1, return points 1 of 96, hold break of 94. And that's versus, all top 20 guys, including guys in the top 10. So yeah, man, I might agree with you. Like Thompson seems to be fine playing against like better competition.
Yeah, the lack of weapons though is what I'm a little worried about. Because we saw that against Korda. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Wow, that line moved a lot. Not that it means much, but that opened minus 200, 180. On
Yeah.
Pinnacle, that's 280,
Yeah.
280, 240 right now on Pinnacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I might end up passing.
Thompson to win a set is minus 125. Yeah, I gotta think about this one more, but if that line moves a little bit more, like I think if I get like plus 240 on Thompson, I think then it's worth it. If it goes to 4-game favorite, but like, yeah, it's tricky. I kind of also want to play the over, but then Thompson is also prone to those duds because the thing with Thompson is that he doesn't have much firepower. So if he's missing, like it's really problematic because like he can't there's no way for him to win points. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're
He's,
saying.
he's significantly underpowered in this matchup.
So worth noting, right? In those 9 matches on hardcourt last 52 weeks, he's won a set in 7 of the 9 matches. He's won at least one set against top 50 competition.
Okay.
I mean, he beats Zverev and
He beat Zverev twice in the past year. He beat him in Los Cabos and in Tokyo last year.
wow.
So
And he beat Ruud in the Los Cabos final, which is a slow hardcourt, which should be better for Ruud.
Thompson is 4-8 against lefties in the last 52 weeks. He beat Shang in Atlanta, lost to Shang in Indian Wells, lost to Montero in Rome, lost to
Yeah,
Mark.
anything that's on clay for Thompson, I would just throw out.
Okay, fair. Lost to Shelton in Dallas, which was tight 3-setter.
He lost twice. He lost 2 3-setters to Shelton in the past year. One in Tokyo, one in Dallas. I'm on Thompson here. I think he's got I don't think he should be a favorite, but I think he's more live than plus 220 suggests.
I
Like,
wish
2 to
this
1, I think
match
that's
was
pretty
in
good.
the round of 16 or quarterfinals because like then I would back Thompson in a heartbeat. And I wish it was like 10 degrees hotter. Because
Yeah,
Thompson
I also think
massive
like
physicality edge. Massive. Like Thompson is fit as a fiddle. Like the guy never gets tired. I think
Yeah, he
Piranha
is.
commented on it.
I don't know if he's fit as a fiddle. Like, he doesn't play a lot of long points either.
I mean, he played that 4-hour match against Zverev in the semis and then came back and beat Ruud in 3 sets.
Yeah, that was
That was
crazy.
impressive. That was impressive.
That was
That was
impressive
crazy.
in hot Los Cabos conditions, like hot and humid.
I know.
Like
I
that
bet
was,
it.
Thompson's minus 125 to win a set. That seems pretty good.
that seems pretty good.
I'm with you guys. The more I look at this, I think that's too big of a price. Dude, Draper's got plenty of kind of, I wouldn't say bad losses, but he's lost to worse caliber than Thompson. I mean, he lost to Kakanakis, Los Cabos, lost to Christopher O'Connell in Indian Wells, lost to Jari in Miami.
Yeah, some of those are heat induced. Like the loss of Yari in Miami, I think Draper threw up on the court 4 times. Like it was hilarious because Yari was actually asking like, "Oh, are you spitting? Or are you vomiting?" Because there's like liquid all over the ground here. It was
Yeah, you were at that match, right?
Yeah. That's why I knew that, right? You wouldn't see that on TV. Like I was at the match. I was cheering. I was cheering for Nico, and some Chilean fan afterwards asked me why I was cheering for Nico Yari. I didn't explain to him that I ended up with like 4 because I bet it live a bunch of times too. So I ended up having like 4 units on Nico and all like plus like 2 to 300. So it was like a solid like 12 to 13 unit payout. So I was pretty happy, but yeah.
That's a great sweat.
Chile.
Viva Chile! Yeah.
Now Mariana Navoni against Taylor Fritz. This is my play of the day on Tuesday. I love the Fritz minus 5.5 at plus 105.
Just look, I think Fritz should be serving first. He always opts to serve.
Usually does.
Let me look
The
at
thing is with
Navone.
5.5, you still need 3 breaks.
It's Mariana Navoni on hard court. Like This is like Fritz against Baez. Like, and Navoni's like a worse version of Baez.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pass only because Fritz, not only did he play at the Olympics the singles, but he also played the doubles. Um,
I have like no data on Nabone on hard. Has he not played on
He
hard?
doesn't play hard. Yeah,
Okay.
he built his
he's
rank
played
play.
I have one match on him.
he's played one qualifier on hard.
Wow.
No, that's not true. He's played a couple qualifiers on hard. But yeah, he basically does not play hard.
It's crazy
What
that
match do you have from him on hard, Tony?
That's a good question. Yeah, I'd have to look it up. I
don't even know. Like, I don't even know how you have a hardcore match because I don't see him having played a single hardcore. Yeah, if you have qualifiers, maybe you got a qualifier in there.
Yeah, I do qualifiers, so it's probably a
Okay,
qualifier.
so he played a quali, a U.S. Open quali, lost 1-2 to Lucas Klein. Granted, that was like mentioned 3 sets in an Australian Open quali. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he's built
this is just a
40
matter
ranking.
of like,
Yes.
does Fritz beat him down by 5.5, or does he beat him by 5? That's the problem.
But Fritz is the kind of guy he just plays every point hard, and that's why I like that.
Can you buy it a 5? Because you can do that on sites.
Well, actually, it'll be pretty cheap too. You could buy a 5 at probably like minus 135 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pinnacle's 5
exactly what it is.
130. That would be
Yeah.
That's where I would go. I think 5 and 5.5 are very different here because Fritz always serves first if memory.
Yeah, he does. I'm trying to let me look up Nabone on clay. I
I
can
have a
tell you if he
same game
serves.
parlay of like Fritz and the under 20.5 at like plus 110.
That seems good.
Where the Fritz under 12.5 at minus 130.
That's playable.
Nabone always opts to return, so that's going to be almost a guarantee for it serves first.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, 5 at minus 130 seems pretty good. Or the under 20. The under 20 too, because then like you're
the under
less likely to
20
have a
is good.
4 and 4, right? You'll probably
Right.
like if it's one break each set, it'll probably be 3 and 4.
Right. Yeah, the under 20 is a good look here. I would make that GBM too.
Like I would go under 20 before I would go
Minus
under
1.5.
12.5.
I also like the Fritz to win set 1 6-1 at plus 525.
Those are just hard to evaluate.
Because that's 2 breaks, right?
No, I get it. He's serving first. The problem is the 2 breaks need to come early, right?
Yeah, you could win 6-2 with 2 breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, or just play the 6 love at 22-1. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play that for half a unit.
That actually doesn't seem like a terrible look. He could just blow him completely off the planet.
Or just play any set to nil at 8-1.
You guys talk me into the under here.
Nice.
I'm just looking. Favorite serve first on 4.5 spreads has gone under 54.6% of the time. 200.
Yeah, I'm gonna join the. We'll squad ride the under 20. That seems pretty good.
It's 200 matches sample.
Yeah, I'll squad ride the under 20, given that Fritz is serving first.
I'm putting half a unit on any set to nil at 8-1, and I'm putting half a unit on the first set 6 love at 22-1. I'm all over Fritz here. I think this is a fantastic match. Davidovich Fokina against Roman Safulin. Fokina is a minus 130 favorite. Safulin is a plus 110 dog. Over under of 23. I was looking at the 3-set line here, but it's not that great.
Yeah, I played Fakina here, but then I looked after. I'm not is crazy about it. I don't really like it.
What is Saflin's data on quick versus slow? I would imagine Saflin does better on quick courts too.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Just put sped in on the under.
I mean, it's a surface transition, right? For
Roman, yeah, he's coming from the Olympics.
20. Forget bets. They were. I try to like keep everything in betting in there just for reference, but they're terrible with the over-unders. Like I just bet it at 115 and I have to put 120 in there. Anyway, all right. We're doing Safo and Fokina, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Alejandro Davidovich, Fokina. Safiullin. Okay. Both these guys I have. Okay, so these samples aren't good, but Saflin, I have 41 matches on medium pace courts. He's basically dead even, down $15. He's up 3.8 units on fast courts, 21 matches. He's down 3 units on 4 matches on slow courts. Bokina also better results on fast. He's down 4.6 units on medium over 47 matches and down 7.8 units on slow over 8 matches. Looks like both guys.
Do you have
have
anything
done.
on indoor versus outdoor? I mean, Fokina's
Yep.
significant better on outdoor too, right? I think.
Bokina outdoor 49 matches. He's basically dead even. Indoors,
Okay.
he's down 11 units over 18 matches. And Saflin, kind of opposite. Saflin's down 5 units outdoors, 39 matches. He's up 5.5 units indoors, 27.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass given that, given what you just said. I mean, Fokina is actually looking a little bit appetizing here, to be honest, because like, given that it's outdoors, I don't know.
Yeah, but it's not,
Medium-ish.
and it's not windy, which favors, I guess, both guys, right? Like maybe it's
Yeah,
a
you don't want Fokina in the wind, but you don't really want Saflin in the wind either. I don't. Yeah.
right. Yeah, I'm a pass here.
Yeah.
This
Service points, return points, actually edge to Saflin. Fakina's at basically 101.7 as a half game fave. That's 34 matches. Saflin is at 102.7 as a half game fave.
the thing is, I don't trust either guy mentally. Like,
Yeah,
I would trust Saflin way more than I trust Fokina.
I do, but Safilin is also very erratic. Like,
yeah, but he's not a. I mean, Fokina might be the worst choke artist on the tour.
yeah, you're probably right.
yeah, I regret playing him.
But I don't like
that match against Kaboli. That was an epic choke job. That was next level.
like
choke.
maybe you play like if you're gonna play Fokina. I mean, what about Fokina set 1? Is that a look?
Yeah, but minus 130 as well.
Fakina is, I guess, last month he's played 5 matches. He's at 103 service return point game. One as a 1 game fave. So he's been better the last month, let's say, than the last year, despite the choke.
The Safulin LWW might be a decent play.
Just on the pure Chokina.
Is that a bad thought?
The Chokina.
Why not just live bet it? To like live bet. I guess they probably have that kind of baked in.
Actually, I don't really know that I agree with that. I think it is a good live bet. I don't think they bake it in as much as they should. If they bake it in much at all, like it's a very specific thing, right? Like how many, like man, you and I have talked about this before. It's so hard live betting to like actually make like those decisions. Like you have such little time, especially because most of the time, if you're watching the match, like your feed is already like 20 seconds behind. So I don't know how much they need to bake that in, especially for a match, like for a first round match in Montreal. Like, how many people are live betting it that aren't using just a straight algorithm?
Well, Yeah, I don't know if they're. Yeah, I agree. They probably aren't baking in him choking. Like probably a small amount. The market's moving, but I think it's mostly they're. I think they're copying Pinnacle a lot of these books, and they do have sharps on there. But I think the thing that is baked in, I think the guy who wins the second set is more likely to win the third. Just I don't have data on that, but just based on what I've seen from the live lines, like the live lines seem to get pretty skewed to whoever wins the second set. Um, so I think you would lose some value on that if you waited to bet live. Like if it goes lose, win, win, you're probably not going to get as good of a price as if it went like win, loss, win. Live, betting it live. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I feel like the way I mean we talk about this, man. Like the way to bet Fokina matches live is to like bet whoever's down a break.
Right. Right. Especially in this match, I feel. Right? With the erraticness of both guys.
Yeah, I mean again, like yeah. But I think like Fokina is like Saflin's just straight erratic. Like I don't think he's any more erratic when he's ahead than when he's behind. Whereas like Fokina is definitely more erratic when he's ahead.
Right. Yeah, this is a mess of a match to kind of read beforehand. I'm staying away.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. We have so many nicknames for Fokina. Like we have the Chokina, we got the Foky Brain, we got we got don't we have some more for him?
Probably make some up.
Yeah, we probably has in the past.
Foky Brain is like it's like a chronic condition where like, you can't normal tasks become difficult, you know? It's like it's a diagnosis. I have medication for it at the pharmacy if you ever have Foky Brain. What match didn't we cover here? Is that it?
Oh, I've got one. Paul Darderi.
Oh yeah, Paul Darderi.
Um,
It's a pretty big line, right?
It is.
it is.
I'm a stay away here. It's a lot of games. It's the surface transition for Paul. I mean, I'm leaning the Paul 5 -5, but that also depends. Is he going to serve first?
Yeah, he mixes it up, I think. I don't, and it looks like Darderi opts to serve first, so I'd say most likely Darderi serves first, but not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm likely going to take Darderi there in some capacity. I mean, I was looking at Paul on surface transitions, so
Mhm.
let me look at this again. So recent surface transitions for Paul. So Olympics, he obviously beat Darderi 3 and 4. Den Bosch this year, he beat Popperin 5-7, 6-4, 6-3. So lost the first set, but came back to win. But he was a pretty big favorite there. Lucas Klein in Madrid lost the first set 6-7, came back to win 6-7, 6-1, 6-4. Last service transition before that, I guess you could say starting the season Adelaide, he killed Alex Bolt. That's fine. Surface transition to in Los Cabos, coming off the grass season last year, beat Melaheni Alves 7-5, 7-6.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might take him a little while to get going.
Yeah, I think it takes him I think it might take him a little while. So I'm contemplating either I don't want to take Darderi money line, but I think there's either first set or maybe spread or maybe even like the over games. The over, it's a low over. It's a low total. It's 20.5.
Yeah, but they just played at the Olympics, and that's on Darderi's best surface and arguably Paul's worst surface, and it was 3 and 4.
That's fine. I mean, this is. I mean, this is more about a trend than about a one individual match, right? I'm kind of weighing the trend over the individual match. Like if Darderi's probably going to serve first, I
Yeah.
just need him to only get broken once in each set, and I still cover the spread.
Yeah, that serve first is pretty good.
Yeah,
true.
like yeah, but I'm thinking something along those lines, like either +5, maybe the set one over 10.5 games is +275. That could be a play. I'm liking something pro Darderi here, like, but not like Darderi to win the match, just Darderi to like
Dare to
do
win a
something
set
early
is plus
on.
170.
What?
Or dare to win a set is plus 170.
You or the first set is +320. Might go there.
Yeah, that's where I would be looking. That's a price that seems appetizing.
Yeah.
Because I would want to shorten the finish line. I feel like as the match goes on, Paul's gonna kind of like get a grip and figure it out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I might do the set one money line. That's a decent look. Ugo against Arthur, my guy that I backed to win the first quarter and beat Djokovic and Tsitsipas, Arthur Fils. Probably my worst bet of the year. The Roland Garros or the Olympic quarter bet. So Humbert is a 2-game favorite. Fils plus 135 on the money line. Over under of 23. Um
Pull that up. Have they played before?
They did
Sorry if you just.
once. I think they played in Cincinnati last year.
I assume
I
I'm
went,
Bear probably won.
yeah, but Humbert was in way better form that year or last year.
He's just suddenly
3 sets.
dialing it up here.
They played in Den Bosch this year. Humbert won 3 and 6. But I feel like grass is Humbert's best surface and Feast worst surface.
Yeah, I got a feeling those head-to-heads are not going to work, and like I have a feeling Fees is going to be up for this one because he's playing better too. I mean, he just beat what's Zverev.
You just can't beat Arnaldi.
They did. They also played on. Did you mention the Bordeaux Challenger, Manny? So actually, Humbert's gotten him 3 times in the past
3 times.
15 months.
That
That
yeah,
explains that explains the difference. I mean, that plus Humbert just being a slightly higher ranked and higher thought of tennis player explains the difference.
I don't think Fees is one of those guys though that's it's going to be in his head that he can't beat him. I think it's going to
Well,
be
I don't think it would be that. It would be a matchup thing
yeah,
specifically.
Yeah.
Like does the wide slice serve? Because Humbert's got that wide slice serve that he's known for. Does that wide slice serve, is that a problem if he's his backhand? Maybe.
yeah. Fees' hard court numbers over the last year were pretty bad. 29 matches as a 1-game fave. He was only at 99.5. Humbert 44 matches was at 104.4 as a 0.8 game favorite.
You think Feast prefers playing like counter punching kind of players or aggressive minded players?
Yeah, I don't have an opinion on that myself. I don't know. I would imagine maybe aggressive, but I don't know.
Yeah, because he plays so aggressively too. So like,
I mean, he comes
and
out
I
pretty
feel like he
fired
struggles
up.
against Arnaldi because Arnaldi's best strength is actually his defense. You know, so
I
he
have
kind
to
of
raise.
forces Arnaldi to play defense, and that's what is his best strength. So I feel like if Feast gets the first strike in the rally, I don't think Humbert is necessarily a good defender. He takes the ball really early.
I have to read these stats just because they're about as crazy as I've ever
Oh,
seen.
I don't really have a qualitative take on this match. This is
What are your stats here, Tony?
Humbert 44 matches over the last year. He's up 22 units on the money line. Even more insane, he's up 16 units on the spread.
That's insane. That
wow.
is
Yes.
insane.
Yeah, I don't think I've
Wow.
seen anybody up 16 units in a year on the spread. Like that's totally
What's the
crazy.
average spread though?
So he's got 27 matches as an average 2.9 game fave, and those he's up 7.5. And then he had 17 matches as an average 2.6 dog. He's up 8.8 units in those. He's just been an absolute cash cow at hard. I mean, those are like center. The money line numbers look like centers, and I've never seen spread data like that. Never seen anybody up 16 units over 44 matches.
Yeah, that's pretty insane on the spread because the spread is always like, minus 110, minus 115,
Yeah.
something in that range.
That's like 30 and 14, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's even better with
It's
the
even better than that
juice.
'cause you're fighting the VIG.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Anyway, a lot. I mean, he's equally good indoor and hard outdoor. It looks like too. So yeah,
That's interesting to me too. I would expect him to be better indoor.
he's got let's see. Looking at the right thing. Yeah, actually, I'm sorry. He is better. No, he's about so outdoor 49 matches, 14 units. He's up. Indoor 28 matches. He's up 7.5 units.
So
These are going to
that's
be.
all the positive side of Humbert, but you do have to remember, I mean, that's all data. The last time he's played on the hard court was back in March.
And he was
He's
Humbert's not been nearly as good the past 4 to 5 months. Manny, you and I talked about this. Humbert's had a very up and down career. I think he's come in and out of the top 50 like 3 times or something.
He goes through these patches of like great play where he wins like tournaments and gets really far, and then he goes through these really rough patches too. So
and the thing with Bees is he is suddenly looks like he's like kind of the potential starting to get fulfilled here. Like there was a
yeah,
long
but we thought
kind
that
of
after
dry
League
stretch
One,
with
and then I was prisoner of the moment and said he would be top 10, and then like he's also fallen off a cliff. Like
but
he's erratic. Like he only knows how to play one way, which is just blast ball after ball after ball. And if it's landing in the court, like he's gonna get good results. If it's not, it's gonna be atrocious.
I mean he's looking a lot better lately. I don't know. I haven't watched like a lot of his matches, but
Yeah, he had a
I
good
did see
Wimbledon and
parts of it.
won
He
Hamburg.
won Hamburg. Yeah, I mean he beats Zverev.
But then
It's
he
pretty
got beat in the first round by Arnaldi the Olympics. It's
that
you
yeah,
know,
I don't
these
even look at that stuff. Yeah, the Olympics is so I don't know. I
it's a
think
weird
there's so much
tournament. Yeah,
motivation and travel, and you've got the village. I mean, there's a lot going on there.
that's true. That's
I don't
true.
know. I mean, it has to count for something. I just don't know how much.
I mean, it's just a different surface altogether. So, he had a good Wimbledon and a good Hamburg, but like this is a different surface. So I'm probably gonna
Right.
look off this one. I mean, this is really tough. I mean, if Feast gets to like plus 145 or plus 150, I'd probably take a stab, but like, yeah.
But
Yeah, I
I
don't
do
know.
feel like this line has gotten pretty. I mean, what is fees? Plus 130?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. I mean, like really with Humbert's recent form, like I guess that's the question you got to ask yourself, right? It's really the recent form for Feast, or not for Feast, for Humbert versus Humbert's like hardcore prowess and great performance. But like, and it's really which one are you gonna weight more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing on this. I do have Humber's being very lucky last 12 months, which I guess would make sense with those crazy numbers. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably going to be fees or pass for me.
Okay. All right. And then I think the last match is the Popper and Mahawk. So Poppy's plus 1.5, plus 130 on the money line. Mahawk is minus 155 over under 23.5. This is ugly.
I think I looked a little bit at this. I think Popperin, for what it's worth, has been really bad on medium pace courts. Let me just check. I wouldn't put a ton of stock into this stuff especially because it can get skewed by like 1 - 600 match or something. But yeah, so I have Popperin 9 matches on slow. He's up 1.7 units. 34 matches medium, down 7.5, and then actually up 6 units over 16 matches on fast. I guess it wouldn't logically make sense that a guy could be better medium and worse on slow and fast, could it? Like it
Not
should be
really.
a progression, right? Like one way
Yeah.
or the other. Okay, so yeah, I don't know.
There's probably, I mean, in that case, it's almost like I'd start looking at like what is like your intersecting, like
Yeah,
what are your other variables that are intersecting there, right? Is there something indoor, outdoor? Is there like some kind of weather variable? Like,
bounce
what
of
are
the
your other
ball is a
variables
big
there?
one.
What?
Yeah, how the court bounces is a big one always too.
Yeah.
Whether it's low bouncing or high
Yep.
bouncing.
Yep. Manny and I talk about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
variable that goes kind of not unnoticed.
Do have Popperin is much better outdoor. 50 matches. He's up 8 units. I've only got 9 indoor matches for him, but he's down almost 8 units. So Mahak, let me just look at service point, return point. Mahak, 32 matches over the last year. He's been a 1.6 game fave. He's at 104.75. Really good. Popperin has been a 0.4 game dog, and he's at 101. So, I'd give a little bit of an edge to Mahawk there, just in terms of outperforming. That's to be at 101 as a 0.4 dog is pretty damn good too. I mean,
Yeah.
he should be
Yeah.
under 100.
Should be like 98 or 99, probably, or probably
Yeah,
like 97, 98, something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So Mahawk, I feel like he plays pretty well against aggressive-minded guys. Like he beat Zhang in the Olympics. He beat Draper in Geneva. I mean, I guess they're all on clay, but like he beat Wawrinka in Indian Wells.
I mean, he's
Uh,
really aggressive, Mahawk. Like if he's hitting his shots, he could beat anybody. But if he's not, I feel like he could lose to
yeah.
anybody. I don't know if his data supports that, but I think it was, I don't know if he's playing Medvedev or he was playing somebody really good. And I mean, he was just, I mean,
Yeah, Medvedev
he must
at
hit
the
50
practice.
winners against him. Was it Medvedev?
Yeah, it was 4 sets. That was a very entertaining match. I love that match.
Yeah, that third set when he beat him 6-1, and I mean, he's just smoking winners
Yeah,
past him.
exactly.
I mean, he's just hitting the ball 130 miles an hour past him.
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
that's the thing. He's very hot and cold, but like, he has way more tools in the bag than Poppy. Poppy is just grip and rip tennis, and if the ball lands in, it's gonna be good. But like Mahawk has variety, come to the net. I think Poppy has a big advantage on serve. That's the you know that's the thing. Mahawk's serve is pretty weak. That's his biggest problem. So I think on quicker courts, that's gonna be problematic for him. I think this is priced about right.
I agree. I'm passing.
I would lean the 3 set line, but I don't like plus 125. I like playing those at better than plus 130. So I'm not gonna.
I have Mahawk at a higher hold percentage than Popperin over the last year. I've got
Really?
Mahawk at 85.5 and Popperin at 84.
That's
Oh,
interesting.
yeah, I can
Yeah, I
check it,
mean,
make
I
sure
think
it's
I
right.
think Mahawk is made better at like backing it up. Like he has a better ground game and stuff. Like, but
Yeah,
Poppy just has a better just.
Yeah, I mean, Poppy just makes a lot of errors, right? He probably misses a lot of play. I mean, he does miss a lot of +1 balls.
It seems like a 50-50 match though. Well, maybe not.
yeah. You know what's interesting? So Mahawk, hopefully I didn't fat finger something and have like an extra digit in, but I have Mahawk at 110 hold plus break and Popperin at 103. So
Mm.
I still don't like understand exactly what the divergence between that and serve and return means or how to interpret it, but that's a really big difference.
Yeah. And both coming off a service transition. Mahak also played doubles. I think he played mixed and the men's doubles.
And did they medal or no? They lost in the quarters, right?
Oh, he got a gold in mixed, I
Oh, in
believe.
mixed. Okay.
And then he lost in the quarters in the.
Man, are you telling me you actually watched the mixed doubles event in the Olympics?
I just know the results.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Man, he probably had like 5 bets on it.
I can't, like, I literally can't imagine. Like, I can't watch mixed doubles. Like, I can watch women's doubles way before I can watch mixed doubles.
Oh, I can't watch women's doubles either. But all right, so that does it. Let's recap the plays. So I think we're all Tony has
Yeah, I scratched that one.
Fokina reluctantly.
No, that was a
He
mistake.
wants to
I don't
cash
like
out
that
right
one.
now.
Yeah, I'm doing the cash out or early cash out on that.
We're all on Bublik money line against Shelton, right? That's one of our favorite plays.
Yep.
I think we're all staying off the Poppy Mahawk. We're all on Giron money line, right? Plus 125.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Ooh, Kaboli moved up to plus 200. That's we'll keep monitoring that one. If Thompson for me, if he moves up to plus 230 or 240, I'm going to play that. But
yeah, I just played the Thompson to win a set at minus 125.
right. I want to monitor the line movement here, but I'm leaning towards Thompson. Tony, you have anything there?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm leaning towards Thompson there. I'm gonna probably end up playing that. I think that's too high.
We're on the Fritz Navoni under 20. It's a family play, right?
Yep.
Nice. Is that GBM worthy?
Sure.
All right, nice. Let's do that. A Korda Pospisil, we didn't talk about that.
Well, I mean, I wanted the only thing I would play here is like a game spread, right? Like, look, I mean, the set, like, he's what, like minus 300 to win 2-0, which he's gonna win 2-0. Pospisil's played like 3 singles matches in the past 2 years.
Right. Minus 215. That's probably playable.
Yeah, Pospisil. Okay, he's played more. Okay, he's played occasionally. He hasn't played well, but he has played some singles.
Yeah. Paul Darderi, I think Brad, you're on the +5, right?
I'm gonna post what line I ended up playing. I'm gonna be on the Darderi first set for half a unit, and then probably the +5 or the over games in the first set. Something pro Darderi that's not that doesn't involve him winning the match.
All right, I got to think about it. But I'll probably be on the Darderi set 1 for a small play.
Yeah.
Fees already moved up to plus 135 from plus 130.
Man, that's getting more and more like playable. I mean, just Humbert's form has been poor.
Yeah.
And given Humbert's form, and I know it, but like Humbert's not a bad grass court player. Although I guess he played okay against Alcaraz. He actually played really well against Alcaraz. So and then if you're gonna criticize Humbert's form based on clay, well, that's kind of silly because Humbert's not a clay court guy. So
it's tricky. It's really tricky.
I'm probably gonna be off it.
Okay. I'm close on fees there.
I'm close too. I'm close. What's your minimum buy point, Tony?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it. It wouldn't be so much about that. It'd kind of be how I have to look at how lines that are moving against me with this model that I use are doing. If I were, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not good with the lines. I'm getting better at them.
My minimum buy point is like plus 140, but I'm getting close. Sonigo Greekspore, I'm on the 3-set line here. I think you guys are off or Greekspore money line, Brad?
I'm just off. If this gets to if that gets under minus 150, I'd probably have to take Greekspore. But where it is right now, I'm just off. Actually, I'm pretty far off. It's the more I think about it, it's really not worth playing.
On 3 sets. Michelson, I'm on the -4. I think Tony, you're on that too, right?
Yeah, I believe it. Yep,
All right.
I took -4.
The Yari over 23. I think we're both on that.
I am
Yep.
not on that. I'm a pass there.
Or
If
just
anything, I might just play the Yari side. I mean, he's just a better hardcourt than Etch, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good play too. I'm tempted on Jari there too. I have the same problem with Jari. I have him as being so lucky.
yeah, I'm laying off just because his form in the line. He hasn't won a match in 3 months. Like it's hard. It's hard for me to get there.
He won
Borges,
like every close match last year too.
Borges, Kecmanovic. I think we're all off it. Right.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, Diallo, Kachanov. I actually am gonna play the Diallo to win the first set, but Kachanov to win the match at plus 550. I found it on another book, so small play, but that's what I'll play there. Marjan Busta, I'm off it. I think we're all off it, right?
Yeah, I know he's on that, I think.
Ooh, the
No.
Rune Raonic. We're all on Raonic had set 1 is GBM, right?
Yep. Yep.
I'm also playing the +2 games for Raonic and the Raonic to win the first set 7-6 at plus 460.
That plus
It's just a fun play. It's not like
I get like 460 sounds like an amazing price,
not. It's not.
but well, right, because the problem is like in order for that to make sense, like he's got to be 1 out of 3 to make it to a tiebreak, which is for Raonic, that's actually probably not a terrible price, but it's not like.
But I think once it gets to a tiebreak, I think Raonic is like better than 50-50 to win the tiebreak just because his serve is better.
Wait, you're betting Raonic to win a first set tiebreak. It was
7.
460.
Yeah.
Let me just check bookmaker. I can tell you what the odds, like reasonably close to accurate odds are, because that may be good odds. I have no idea. All right, here it is. Raonic, Rune.
Oh,
So
I
they've-
forgot to mention 2 fun plays I'm playing in the Fritz match is the Fritz 6 love at 22 to 1. Yeah, to win the first set 6 love, and then any set to nil at 8 to 1, half a unit each.
Yeah, actually, so Raonic is plus 456 on bookmaker. They're first set lines, because I used to bet these on here. They're tough. They're very accurate. So I
Okay.
mean, they do have Vega incorporated. So, but 460 is a decent price.
Okay. And then Tiafo Tabilo, I'm on the we're all on the Tabilo money
Yeah,
line.
we're on the
right?
money line. Is that GBM, Manny?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then I'm on the over as well, 23.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right. So that does it for our mega pod. Thanks again for joining us, Tony. We appreciate it. It's
Yeah,
great
thank you
to
for
have
having
on
me.
for the quantitative side. We love all your numbers. Like keep up the good work.
Of course, if we lose all these bets, don't invite me back, because it'll clearly be my fault at that point.
No, a lot of squad rides though. It's
I know, I'm scared.
yeah, not much disagreement today.
Yeah, a lot of squad riding.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll keep talking on the Discord and we'll keep having fun with this. So all right, have a good
All right,
night,
guys.
guys. Take
Yeah,
care.
you too.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
Bye, guys.